We thank you for this beautiful day and this beautiful weather. We thank you for the ability to be free and to pray together as free people. Lord, we thank you for the men and women all over the world that help to keep us free. As we come to you today, Lord, we ask for your safety. We ask that you be with each and every one of the drivers, with all of the crews, all of the fireworkers, and with the fans. And finally, Lord, we just ask that we would know and do your will. It is in the strong and beautiful name of your Son, Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Joining us today, please welcome the 1st Cavalry Division Army Band as they perform our national anthem. Let's hear it one more time for the 1st.
No, he never told me if he wants Larry just to pick up. I'll ask him. Because we have a break in between. We have a break. We have a break to talk about.
Darryl, what is it you're talking about?
We're talking about how turn 1 and 2 was so different. I'm here for it. We already go.
Blake, he just gets it. So that stuff does seem to be, it always seems to be a little temperature sensitive. So we'll see what happens. Kevin made the comment on the pre-race that he thought that top was going to come in, but probably wouldn't be from the start. First few laps after the caution, because of it. Right. So, yeah, depending on how long the caution is. Yeah, exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, here to give the command to start engines in today's race, NASCAR Hall of Fame driver and guest of O'Reilly Auto Parts, please welcome Rusty Wallace.
For all you Texas NASCAR race car fans and everybody listening on radio around the world and everybody watching television around the world, drivers, start your engines!
The NASCAR Cup Series comes off the short track at Martinsville with a whole herd of favorites for Texas. Beginning with last week's winner, Brad Keselowski, on a hot streak. And runner-up Chase Elliott looking for his first win of 2019. Your front row, Jimmy Johnson. What switch did they flip to get him the pole? And his protege William Byron to share the front row. One of those pair, by the way, has 7 Texas victories. Kurt Busch behind Denny Hamlin, who is our Daytona 500 winner. There's Kurt Busch. He's been making noise with a pair of top 5s and a 6th place finish. Then the Kyle Larson searching for the high side. He'll get up there today. And with the broom looking for the Texas sweep, Kyle Busch.
Yes, sir.
Everything seems to be bigger in Texas.
Big boy racing today. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Ooh, let's go racing, boys.
Who's going to be a winner today?
That's what great teams do.
I think you better expect an exciting race.
It's the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. Clap, 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 clap. Deep in the heart of Texas as they roll off and get ready to race for 500 miles. Beautiful day for racing, if a bit windy, and I mean, it's really breezy here. And it's pretty cool. Temperature's going to hit about 55, so fans now filing into the grandstand as the cars come to life. If you fly over this racetrack, it looks like a symmetrical quad oval, each end identical to the other. Boy, when you get down to ground level, Darrell, completely different.
No, I think turn one's the money turn. You've got to nail that turn. Last year, Kevin Harvick was so good in that turn. You nail that turn, you're going to run a quick lap. You miss it, you're liable to get run over. So turn one, watch that one.
And there were some drivers that were really strong in practice. They're going to be starting deep in this field. We've got Kyle Larson, 22nd. Kyle Busch going for that sweep in 16th. How are they going to get track position? That's all we keep hearing about. Track position, track position. Watch for those guys to make some wild moves up high through 1 and 2 on these restarts and down the back straightaway, maybe even taking them 3 wide.
And of course, Jeff, the information that my driver gives me is so important. The two ends of this racetrack are totally different. You're going to be in and out of traffic. And are you running below the traction compound or in the traction compound? We have to be concise, though. The way these cars are running in the pack, our spotter may be our most important crew member. Mike, the most important, too, may be the radio.
Oh, yes, those spotters up on the roof are going to have a busy day. So here's your starting lineup down at the bottom of the screen. And let's get on the radio and go right to the front row.
Oh, yeah, Jimmy Johnson, buddy. Jimmy Johnson, TW, you got a copy here, bud?
Yes, sir, I do.
Hey, man, I don't think I've seen a smile on your face as big as I've seen all weekend here in Texas. You got a great car. After a not so good last weekend, how's it feel to be on the pole? What do you think about today?
Yeah, it sure is amazing how a good race car will make you smile more. The car's been great. Great couple of days. Looking forward to finishing things off with a good, strong performance here today with the Ally Chevy.
Hey, Jimmy, this is Jeff. Never thought I'd say that Jimmy Johnson's rusty from leading laps and winning races, buddy, but been a little while since you've been in this position. When you have a good race car like this and a weekend like you've had, do you just jump right back into things the way you always have?
Man, I hope so. We're going to find out here shortly. Certainly haven't been up here. There's a few particular rules for the first start. Luckily, I'm the leader, so I don't have to think too hard about that one. But, you know, you do get a little rusty from time to time. I'm sure hoping that 18 years of experience, shows up and I'm able to do what I need to up front today.
All right, buddy. We're looking forward to watching. Good luck today. Thanks for talking to us.
10-4, bud. Thank you.
He didn't just win the pole. He won opening practice. He won all 3 rounds of qualifying and all the major categories of final practice. Jimmy Johnson rolls off as the favorite as we go to pit road, beginning with Matt Yoakum.
Mike, expectations are high today. The prolific drafters will take center stage. That could fall into Eric Jones's wheelhouse. Remember, he scored his only Cup win last summer at Daytona, finished 3rd in the Daytona 500. Now, they've had speed all year. They just haven't been able to execute through the entire race. They're hoping that changes today. Like DW mentioned, turns 1 and 2, that's the critical end. That's where the 20 car showed impressive speed this weekend. He's won here in trucks. Xfinity, they're hoping today is a trifecta and score a Cup win. Vince?
Well, for Kyle Busch, he won the Gander Outdoors Truck Series race on Friday night and the Xfinity Series race yesterday afternoon. Today, he goes for the 3-race sweep. It'd be the 3rd time in his career that he's done it. But this car, the Monster Energy Cup car, has been off a little bit this weekend. In fact, crew chief Adam Stevens told me they've changed more this weekend than in any race weekend this season. But they do feel good about where they've landed for today, but they're not sure until that green flag drops. We're about to find out. Jamie Little?
Well, it has been a frustrating season for Clint Boyer, and that continued on Friday in qualifying. And I talked to his crew chief, Mike Bugaravich, and he said They've been plagued by mistakes, whether it was a blown engine or a wrong setup or speeding on pit road like he did last week. They must stop that, finish the race, have a clean race start to finish. Also the goals for today, besides no mistakes, they need to lead some laps, something they have not done this season, get some stage points, but he'll have his work cut out for him. He's starting back in 26, but hey, he has Blake Shelton standing here in his pit box, so maybe that'll bring him a little luck, Larry Mack.
Yeah, let's take a look at our race analysis, Jamie. We're going to go for 334 laps, right at 500 miles. The stages are 85, 85, and 164. Pit road speed, 45 miles per hour. The fuel window, 60 to 64 laps. Grip level, 5 being a lot, 1 being very little. We're right there about a 4 at the bottom 2 grooves. To the rear of the field will be Alex Bowman in the 88 car, a backup car from a qualifying crash, and Ryan Newman in the 6 for failing inspection twice. So, Mike, speak your mind, but ride a fast horse.
Thanks, Larry. Now, Jimmie Johnson has chosen the outside lane for the start, Jeff. How's that going to work when we get down into turn 1 with the traction compound up in the 2nd and 3rd grooves there?
Well, and if I had to guess, Mike, that's probably Jimmie Johnson, his teammate William Byron, working out a deal here. I wouldn't be surprised you see Jimmie Johnson jump out in front of him and get back down to that bottom group, at least in the early stages of this race.
Warmer than yesterday. That's the best thing we can say about the weather, and a pretty cloudless sky, and only about half as much wind.
No, but it's changed direction.
Yes.
Watch out for turn 1.
I had a headwind down the back yesterday, Mike, and Friday really, but today, hey, got to get the race going here. Boogity, boogie, boogie. Saddle up, boys, and let's go racing. Think that was a good start, Mike?
It was
Missed
for
it
Jimmie
by
Johnson.
that much.
There's
but it
Kyle
was
Busch.
up at the front for Jimmie Johnson.
Already Kyle Busch in that high groove, taking advantage of some of those other cars running around the bottom, getting stacked up. And Kyle Larson going right along with him.
Boy, double wide from 3rd on back. Now, the front cars shake out, single file, back through about 8th place. Jimmie Johnson extending his record of laps led at Texas.
Tell you one thing, that 24 car, William Byron, he's all over the back of 48. I think he might make a pass.
Looking at 8th place, Eric Jones, Ty Dillon, Daniel Hemrick, teammates, and Ryan Blaney amongst them.
Now, Mike, you saw what I talked about turn 1, the money turn. You see how much of a gap Jimmie Johnson put on William Byron just through turns 1 and 2? That's the turn.
Well, and I think, Darrell, down here in 3 and 4, the cars are stuck so well. There's almost a bit of a draft down there that allows William Byron and others to pull back up to the rear bumper of Jimmie Johnson.
Let's watch him again as he goes into turn 1 right here and see if he can gap him again, because that's where Jimmie seems to have a bit of an advantage right now.
Yes, right through the mid corner. And look, 3rd place, battle on the inside.
Chase Elliott going to the inside of Daniel Suarez. See how this works out down here in 3 and 4 as they're side by side.
And that allows Joey Logano to pull up right on the bumper of Chase Elliott.
And Mike, isn't it funny, last week 48 had a miserable week, 22 had a miserable week at Martinsville. Today they're leading the pack.
Riding with Joey Logano.
Oh, William Byron had a bit of a moment.
Here, 24s up off the line.
William Byron got loose there off of turn 2 slip, the racetrack.
Teammates battle for 2nd. Byron with the launch off the corner. He's got half a car length on Elliott. Take a look lower right at what happened to the 24.
You already saw the left rear start to come off that bottom line. That just shows you the car's yawed out and loose. William Byron's been battling a bit of a loose condition through the center of the corner all weekend long, even though he's had a fast race car in qualifying. And I think that's something that should get better as this run goes on.
Yeah, I mean, he's awesome in 3 and 4. You see him run through there practically wide open. Struggling a little bit in turns 1 and 2, though. That's where he's losing time.
Well, here's 2 teammates trying to race each other with respect. But things are, to use Boyer's term, clogging up right behind them.
Well, and I mentioned it in our open. We've been talking about it. I heard Denny Hamlin talk about it in our pre-race. That track position is so critical. You just can't afford to give up any track position, even when you're racing your teammates.
Elliott prevails for second. Byron settles in third. Now it's Suarez and Logano side by side.
And pretty interesting, as those teammates of Chase Elliott and William Byron running side by side, it allowed Jimmy Johnson to get out to about a 12-car length lead. That just shows you what happens when these cars run side by side and how stalled out they get in the air.
You know, these Mustangs have been running wild, Mike, almost every race. But today, for whatever reason, the Chevrolets, I don't know, it was it 3 weeks out west, they got home, worked on the cars. But today, we got some Chevrolets that are running mighty strong already early in this race.
Here's a Chevrolet that's been really strong this weekend. Texas native. Right there, Chris Buescher of the outside of Mark Truex Jr. showing some speed.
Got married down here a year ago. Lives down the street, Prosper, Texas. Local guy.
One of 3 drivers in the field for whom this is a home race.
Back to the next group. Door, a little better run for you this time. Bumper, he's quarter pounding tight here, on you tight. Still there, you'll see him, he come back even with you here now.
Boy, Brad Keselowski just climbed the hill in turn 4. Had to give up a spot to the 42 because of it. Here's a look at it.
Well, he knows Kyle Busch is behind him, probably going to use that outside lane, so he goes to the outside, trying to get to the outside. Michael McDowell does not stick, though.
Again, I just think it's ironic. Here we got a guy last week who led 446 laps at Martinsville. I know it's a half-mile racetrack. Had a dominant car. Today looks like he's struggling a little bit.
Ten green flag laps complete in Texas. Pole sitter Jimmy Johnson in command. Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Racing is sponsored by the
They're flat.
Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Racing is sponsored by the Ford Hall of Fans. Are you NASCAR's biggest fan? Go to Ford.com/NASCAR. And by Monster Energy, official sponsor of NASCAR. First caution of the day, lap 15. Eric Jones goes around in turn number 2. No contact. Watch for the number 23rd car in line.
I think he just loses it, Mike. I don't think anybody got into him or anything. A car just jumped out from under him off 2. That's been the action. A lot of action off turn 2 already early in this race.
Well, we'd seen his teammate Denny Hamlin also having some struggles here. I don't know how similar their setups are, but anytime you got Kyle Larson jumping to your outside, you know that you're going to have to pick up the throttle a little bit sooner to keep it from getting to the outside.
So what happened? Here's Eric Jones.
Just situational, Eric. Yeah, it's really tough, man. Fight my top for nothing. Just getting in a bad spot.
Pit road is open, no free pass. There are no cars yet a lap down. Larry, what do you think?
We're just outside that pit window. I get a feeling we may see a split decision here. Some stay out. I think some that need adjustments, they're going to come. So you're seeing, now you're starting to see them peel off. You did see a number of drivers that stayed out.
Byron, Kyle Busch, Hemrick, Ty Dillon, McDowell, Stenhouse, and more. Vince.
The 18 of Kyle Busch, gas only for the 18 of Kyle. Remember, they said they were working on this car throughout the course of the weekend, but no changes here, so that's a good sign for the 18, Jamie.
Well, strategy call here by Chad Knaus, crew chief. Fuel only for the 24, William Byron.
Note that Ryan Newman is pitted right in front of Clint Boyer. Those two had a little bit of an issue in qualifying on Friday. Now let's go back and look at Kyle Busch because he's the first off of pit road. He'll be the green and white car. And he's pitted just after, 2 pits after the start-finish line.
I think it's driver orientation. He's going down there and saying, I just want to be sure I know where my pit is.
Yeah, I think he missed I just don't think he saw it, Vince.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They said you're 5 away, and he never saw the board. He couldn't pick out his pit box and drove right past it. So now they're going to have to change up strategy.
Might be just a little bit of a downside of running 3 different series in the same weekend. Maybe,
I think he gained a spot by doing that, guys. He's actually gained a spot. He went by the 24 car, so well, it didn't really pay a penalty, I don't think.
Yeah, William Byron was the first to come onto pit road.
Well, he gained, but he didn't gain because he doesn't have any fuel to extend. And the whole reason why he came down pit road.
But I do think, Mike, there's a lot to be said for, you know, running the truck on Friday, the Xfinity car yesterday, down the Cup car today. Maybe there was just some
Look how low his pit sign is. He doesn't have one of those neon or LED light signs. Pretty easy to miss that one if you ask me. And it's like they pulled it up because they thought he had seen it.
Well, since most of the cars behind William Byron did come in, Kyle Busch has currently scored 11th.
His guys are going, hey, over here, Kyle, over here.
We're here. Well, he was 10th. He's now 11th. Here's their radio.
We lost 1 spot on the racetrack. We're in the same position. 10-4. Then put your feathers back in order here. Let's go racing.
I like that.
So the first 10 cars did not pit. And I guess Kyle didn't either. If you look at it that way, he is 11th. Here's a look at today's Ford Performance track facts for Texas Motor Speedway. 14 wins at Texas leads all manufacturers. Ford won 7 of the first 10 races held here in the Cup Series. And you're riding with Kevin Harvick, who has won 2 of the last 3. This is the most laps that Jimmy Johnson has led in a race since October 2017, when he led 24 of them at Martinsville. He's going to restart on the inside.
Daniel Suarez, almost got to the...
Still there. Watch the 3 coming in the bottom. Block the 3 on the bottom here. Here comes your help. 3 in your mirror. Outside the 9. All right. Push on the 3. You're clear of the 9. You're clear of the 9.
Wow, you saw Daniel Suarez almost get to the quarter pound of the 9 of Chase Elliott. When that happened, that actually opened up the door for Denny Hamlin to go 3 wide through the middle and really shuffled Suarez back. And how about Kyle Larson?
Threading the needle here, buddy.
He is so good on cold tires or on restarts when you got to get that momentum, try to find those grooves where nobody else is at. Oh, Kyle Busch making an aggressive move 3 wide.
And Suarez trying to get that spot back from Larson right there on the left of your screen.
Well, it just reminds me of a year ago when Denny Hamlin spun right there in turn 3 when they tried to go 2 and 3 wide into turn 3.
So remember, the first 9 cars now are cars that did not stop. Those behind them have fuel and for the most part fresh tires.
Tell you one thing, I wouldn't want to be in this little this little wide right here, because I tell you, they are all over each other, 2 and 3 wide and pushing and shoving, fighting for position.
And Daryl, you know, I was afraid to sort of predict what we were going to see today based on our final practice yesterday, because that sort of bit us in Las Vegas. But I'm seeing a lot of what I saw yesterday. You just can't break away from anybody, and it's so easy to get cars stalled out and run 2 and 3 wide.
14th on back are double file.
I think what these drivers all know, Jeff, when they're bunched up like this on a restart, this is your best opportunity to make some moves.
Boy, saw Jimmy Johnson that last time through 3 and 4. He moved up the racetrack to test out that higher groove, and Joey Logano took advantage of it and had a big run, almost got to the rear bumper or even inside the rear bumper of Jimmy Johnson.
That 48, though, I tell you, lap after lap, he is so good in 1 and 2. He gets a little bit of a cushion going down the back, but here in 3 and 4, not so good.
Now back here, Landon Castle in the 00 did not stop. So as he starts to drift back through the field, that creates a little bit of a log jam. He's the 00, a lot of 2 wide racing. Kevin Harvick's going to pull around the outside of him, but still, big pile of traffic back there as Johnson slips up the hill. Here comes Logano. He'll have a run down the back straightaway and close to within half a car length. Chase Elliott closing on Logano. 3 horses for the lead.
You got that right. And a 4th one looking at 3 cars. Austin Dillon is having a heck of a run here early on.
Jamie.
And the 48 of Jimmy Johnson brought an aggressive approach to their setup this weekend, and it certainly paid off. He's just saying he has a little bit of wheel hop, and he's free getting into turn 1, especially when he hits that traction compound. Little free through the center, but right now the 22 behind him, pretty happy with his race car, better than it was in practice.
I don't know what he's got in turn 1, but I wouldn't mess with it much, because that's where he is really making a lot of, he's gapping the guy behind him every time through that turn.
Well, Daryl, obviously he has his car turning really good down there, because that's why the back end jumped out. You see Joey Logano aggressive to the rear bumper, Jimmy Johnson. And see, that corner's 4 degrees flatter down there.
Oh, here comes Elliott to the outside of Logano. He's there.
Yeah, he took advantage when Joey caught Jimmy Johnson. He had to check up a little bit. Great job by Chase Elliott going to the outside.
Lined up a lane higher. Closing a 1 in your lane.
3 car of Austin Dillon looks like he's going to try to give Chase Elliott a little push, and he does.
One little slip by Logano off of turn 2, and look what it cost him.
All good, take it. Nice work, bud.
And Daryl, it's not like he slipped. He just had to pedal it to keep from running over Jimmy Johnson into the next corner.
Yeah, they just don't, you know, these engines just don't have quite the acceleration I think these guys would like for them to have. So if you got to get out of the throttle, you lose your momentum, you're going to get past.
I really think Chase Elliott right now might have the best race car. Right before that last caution came out with the spin of Eric Jones, the 9 had closed up on Jimmy Johnson. Let's see what he can do behind Jimmy Johnson through 1 and 2.
Keep an eye on Ryan Blaney, who is at the back of that pack battling for 8th with Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch.
You made me chuckle too, Mike. Keep an eye on. Yeah, what? There's a lot to keep an eye on out there.
All right, they single file it here for at least a lap. We'll take a quick break. Jimmy Johnson in the lead.
It's here and it's available today at your local Chevy dealer. The all-new Silverado. The strongest, most advanced Silverado ever.
34 laps complete in Texas. Jimmy Johnson has led them all. From Joey Logano and sometimes Chase Elliott, they are second and third. Austin Dillon hanging tough in fourth, and Denny Hamlin fifth. After being 2 laps down last week, Jimmy Johnson dominates all categories in practice and qualifying. And here is our Built for the Playoffs, sponsored by Ram. What's it going to take for Jimmy Johnson to advance to the playoffs?
Well, right now, let me tell you something. He's not going to give up that lead. I've seen Jimmy race a lot recently. He is holding on that lead. He's not going to give it up easily. You're going to have to take it away from him.
And look how much he's fighting to maintain it. You saw that car step out on the exit. You know, it's been a while since he's had a race car this good. He's going to try to take every advantage of this track position, that #1 pit stall, and do everything they can to stay out front.
And to the man, everybody said, if you can run in clean air out front like Jimmy is, that's when your car is absolutely the best. I think Jimmy knows that, and he's going to fight hard not to give up that lead. And again, I don't want to keep harping on it, but he kills them in 1 and 2. You see the gap he put on the 22 right there. He just holds his own in 3 and 4. 1 and 2, that's his corner.
Now back at 7th, the Kyle and Kyle show, and Larry McReynolds has some added insight on how Kyle Busch ended up missing his pit.
Yeah, Mike, they had no idea he was coming on the pit road. I think they had told him to stay out, and then because he was about 2 pits away when they threw the sign out there, so there was no way this was going to work, and there were signs, of course, in front of him, behind him, and I think Kyle did not know that they knew he was coming, and certainly they didn't know he was coming. So, Vince?
Yeah, well, they told him to do what the leader did, and when the leader stayed out, Kyle went ahead and came anyway, because I believe there was some miscommunication on the radio in regards to possibly someone talking over another. But once he was on pit road, they knew he was on and they knew he was coming, and then he just drove past the box.
A complete failure to communicate.
But as we've said, he lost only 1 stop on that exchange because everyone else behind him except Landon Castle did come to pit road.
And he made sure to tell them that too on the radio. A little irritated about the whole situation, I think.
So of our top 11, 9 of them, 10 counting Kyle Busch, have not stopped in their pit. Let's put it that way. William Byron's the only one, and he runs in 10.
Boy, Joey Logano.
Look.
Yeah, he just continues to get a run through 3 and 4 and draft Jimmy Johnson down the front straightaway, and he just keeps trying to get outside of his mirror, find a way to maybe get Jimmy Johnson to slip up off the bottom, and so far it hasn't happened.
No, and Jeff, I know Jimmy's been at the top of our charts on every category, including the pole. I see why now, because I see how good he is in 1 and 2 compared to everybody else. That's where he's been killing everybody.
And he just ran his
the bottom, 1 back.
His fastest lap of the race. Next month, Johnson's going to go and run the Boston Marathon. And I hope he takes spotter Earl Barbin with him. Can you hear Earl in the Boston Marathon? Hip, elbow, clear. Next lane over, less cracks in the sidewalk. Move 1 lane to your right. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yes, it would.
Austin Dillon hanging tough as his teammate Daniel Hemrick battles the backup car of Alex Bowman there. Matt?
Mike, Austin Dillon will tell you the chemistry is solid within this 3 team, having Danny Stockman back on board. They've had speed. It's just trying to find that balance of downforce versus trimming the car out for speed. It seems like each week they learn so much with this package. Right now he's learning that the car considerably tight in traffic. You can see he's gapped himself a little bit off the 9.
Thanks, Matt. Corey LaJoie's made a pit stop under green, but continues.
Whoa.
Wow. Ty Dillon up top there with Ricky Stenhouse, and a little bit of a log jam there.
You know, we talked a lot about the traction compound pre-race and through the weekend. It's helped. It just doesn't seem like it's been enough grip up there to really make the preferred lane the top groove. It's still, you got to run the bottom, but at least it's something forgiving if you do slide up there.
43 complete. Jimmy Johnson's led more laps today than in all of 2018.
NASCAR Cup Series racing on Fox is sponsored by Progressive Insurance, revving up the savings on home and auto insurance. By Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR, perfect for race fans. And by Coca-Cola, introducing Orange Vanilla Coke. Yeah, you heard that right.
Closing in on 50 laps complete, Jimmie Johnson from the pole has led them all. 9 of the first 10 drivers have not been to pit road. None of the first 10 drivers have stopped on pit road during the only caution so far, a harmless spin by Eric Jones.
And Larry, what were we expecting? 65 laps maybe as the max you can go on fuel?
Yeah, 60 to 64 laps, Daryl. And those guys that pitted, they're just right on the threshold of being able to make it.
Kurt Busch started 21st. Jamie, he's gained 8 spots.
Yeah, and from the start of the race, he actually qualified 30th. He was way back there, and it's been Kurt's wild ride listening to him on the radio. He said his car is like a 2-legged table. It just falls over. He's really tight behind other cars, but the good news for Kurt Busch and the one team, they've got some good speed. They're definitely going in the right direction early on.
Checking in on Stewart Haas, looking for their first victory of the season. And Eric Almirola fighting the flu today. Vince.
Well, I tell you what, that flu bug has been going through the garage. This week it's Eric Almirola got it, came down sick last night, had 3 bags of IV this morning. I talked to him right before he climbed in the car. I said, how do you feel? He said, terrible. But I'm hoping once I get in and get hot and sweaty that I start feeling bad. But you could take one look at him and know he was nowhere near 100%.
And Daryl and I have had this conversation. We had it when Brad Keselowski won at Atlanta when he was sick. Sometimes you just get your head down and you don't complain about the race car. You actually get more out of it. So I bet Eric Almirola is hoping that same results come to him as came to Brad in Atlanta.
Keselowski restarted 25th. You're watching our Goodyear onboard camera as he has worked his way up to 18th, Matt.
Mike, a nice save back on lap 10 when that car stepped out. Pretty loose at that point, and the car is still on the free side. Remember, they pitted back on lap 17 to try to make adjustments to tighten it up. He says that there's a wiggle big time down in the middle of 1 and 2, still on the free side, looking to that next stop for more adjustments.
This guy right here, the 48 car, he's not looking for anything. He's clean air out front. He's pulled away from the 22 car significantly. Jimmie Johnson is driving the wheels off that thing today.
Lapping Ross Chastain, who ran all 3 races this weekend and has run every truck, every Xfinity, and every Cup race this season. Joey Logano, Chase Elliott behind him. Logano has speed in turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like all the cars have a lot of speed through 3 and 4, Mike. They just seem to be able to hold it wide open. So it's really about getting a draft off the car in front of you. It's 1 and 2 where it seems like the drivers are having to get out of the throttle a little bit and need the car to rotate in the center and handle a little bit more.
You know, when I look at Jimmie Johnson in this 48 car, he needs to try to build as much of a lead as possible. One of the cars, Mike, you mentioned that did not make a stop, probably in the next, I'd say 8 to 10 laps for sure. And if you do fuel only, it's a rolling time of pit road around 24 to 25 seconds, but that doesn't include slowing down, getting up to speed. So I guess even with the leader being Jimmie Johnson, fuel only, it's going to be borderline not going a lap down.
So before green flag pit stops begin, we'll take one. 56 laps complete.
Austin Dillon's the new leader. You saw the pit stops. Kyle Larson came in first, then Jimmy Johnson gave up the lead to take on tires with 25 laps to go in stage 1.
2 tires. Most everybody took 2 right side tires, topped them up with fuel, make it to the break.
So Johnson comes out a lap down, as we discussed, to Austin Dillon, as long as Dillon, Hamlin, and Kyle Busch stay on the racetrack. And there's the signal from the 3 that they're coming this time.
All right, Larry, we've seen all these cars that had not stopped under caution. What about these guys that did stop? I know Kyle Busch didn't get fuel, but what about those others that did get fuel? Can they make it?
Yeah, they pitted on lap 16, Jeff, and we went back racing at 18. And to me, the absolute threshold was right about lap 20. But what concerns me is, and I think that's why we saw some of these other drivers pit a little early, the pace has just not slowed down. That's using more fuel there in the throttle more.
But of the drivers who just stopped, Jimmy Johnson battling Joey Logano and William Byron, and Logano has prevailed there. They're now back up on the lead lap.
I think Denny tried to come to pit road the time before, and he missed the entry. Oh, yeah, I mean, he wasn't even close. I don't know if that was a last-second decision or what happened there, but cost him a lot of time to slow down and then try to get back up to speed and make it down pit road.
Hamlin is there now. He'll go at least a lap down, and Kyle Busch is your leader. So Kyle is now the only driver who has not been to pit road and made a stop. William Byron in second, 5 seconds back. Will assume the lead when the 18 pits, and Denny Hamlin nabbed for too fast exiting pit road.
Boy, Denny Hamlin has had a tough time on pit road in recent years.
Second penalty this year for Hamlin, as his teammate Kyle Busch surrenders the lead and comes to make his stop with 19 laps to go in stage 1.
Costly mistake for Denny Hamlin to do that under green flag conditions.
A drive-through penalty for Hamlin.
He gets a lot of penalties, but he always seems to overcome them some way. I don't know how they figure it out, but some way they always overcome them.
And Kyle Busch gets 4 tires under green. William Byron is the new leader.
Yeah, and I just wonder, is Chad Knaus going to try to push this all the way to the end, or is he just going to stay out front and see if a caution comes out?
You know what Chad's happy about? He's leading the race.
Yeah.
And certainly their best chance to win a stage is to try to stretch that fuel mileage to the end of stage 1. Now Jimmy Johnson came in at lap 60. Joey Logano came in 1 lap later. Among the drivers who were leading the race before green flag stops. Johnson 28 seconds back of leader William Byron, but on the lead lap, half a second behind Logano. Using our Fox Ghost car, here they are entering turn 3, and we'll show you the relative effect of this 2-tire stop.
Pretty slight advantage to Joey Logano getting to the entry of pit road. This is going to be that rolling at your pit road speed down before you get into that pit box. And you can see there, Joey Logano's pitted right behind Jimmy Johnson. Now, that #1 pit stall is a bit of a disadvantage under green flag stops because you just can't quite get rolling as well. But Logano really got a great exit and launch.
I know they came in out of the pits, but these two cats right here, they're not happy with each other. I've been watching them for the last several laps. Jimmy did everything in his power to keep the 22 from getting around him. He blocked him and everything. The 22 did finally get around, but Jimmy has been stalking him ever since.
Now those two plus Chase Elliott are the last cars on the lead lap. You'll see William Byron, our leader, coming into the picture, not that far behind. So as they battle, the leader is closing in. There's Byron. Going past Bailey Curry, one of the Texas-born drivers in this field.
Mike, it seems like the longer you run, the faster you go. Byron is running some fast laps right now, 29.0 at last time by. That's a fast lap for this far into a run.
I just got to believe, I mean, there's a lot of cars right now, you know, that have not pitted, that pitted under that caution flag, that I'm just wondering, you know, some of them, or at least one of them, is going to stretch this and try to make it all the way to the end of this stage.
And it just might be this one. Kurt Busch.
I think I know who.
In the number 1, Chip Ganassi.
And this is a trend that I think we're going to see all day. We saw it earlier, and now we're seeing it again. When Jimmy Johnson closed up on the 22, it just opens up the door. It can maybe get his momentum to slow down, opened up the door for 9. Now the one's on pit road. Jamie?
And the 24, William Byron, I'm standing in his pit right now, and Shaq and Now's talking to him on the radio. They're pretty confident they can make it to the end of this stage. So if nothing bad happens, they plan on keeping him right up front until the stage break.
Well, now that Kurt Busch has pitted, that leaves Byron 4 seconds ahead of runner-up Martin Truex Jr., Larry.
Yeah, I keep running the numbers, and you know, the pace is what's got me concerned. The fuel mileage numbers that I gave at the top of the race, talking with some engine builders last night, that was based on a little more give up than what we're seeing. But I still believe, I know we saw Kurt Busch and the one just pit. I think, honestly, we're going to see several try to make it to the end of that stage.
And the 14 of Clint Boyer, will he be one of them?
That cuts down a little bit of the gain we were going to get by doing fuel only. If we do the fuel only and we have a good in and out, I would say we're still going to be about 5th or 6th, the best case scenario. Otherwise, we could do 4 and stay out at the end of the stage and get the track position.
Up front, William Byron, 4.7 ahead of Truex and 5 up on Boyer.
Mike, I didn't mind the crew chief telling me what he was going to do, but please don't ask me what I would do.
So I'm looking at this telemetry and William Byron, is he doing anything different with his throttle to try to save some fuel to make it to the end? Right there, 100% throttle all the way down the back straightaway. This is a corner where they can typically run wide open. Is William Byron running wide open? We saw him come out of the throttle in 1 and 2. Jamie, I don't see him doing anything to try to save fuel here.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm watching Chad Knaus talk to his race engineer, and they're looking at the same things that you're talking about, Jeff, and seeing that 100% throttle. Chad just told his driver, William Byron, a couple more, I think we're going to have to come.
Well, Byron is closing on Jimmy Johnson, who just went way up the hill in turn 2, fell back into the clutches of Chase Elliott. Last 2 cars on the lead lap here. Almirola in and out. Here comes Harvick, Matt.
Mike, Kevin Harvick, we documented earlier the car on the low grip side. And about 10 laps ago, he told Rodney Childers that it's really bouncing the nose down in turns 3 and 4. Just a weird feeling at that end of the racetrack. An air pressure adjustment on the 4.
Martin Truex, the second place car, comes to pit road. Brad Keselowski is in as well. 6 to go in stage 1, Vince.
For Martin Truex, it's just been a little bit free on entry, and he just doesn't feel like he's got enough lateral grip on 1 and 2. Really likes it down in 3 and 4, as most do, where you can keep it wide open. But 1 and 2 is the place. It's a 4-tire change, going to make a chassis adjustment on that 19 as well.
And the leader is in. William Byron gives up the lead to come to pit road. That will turn it over to Clint Boyer. Michael McDowell finishes up. He's back out.
Tell you one thing, the 24 pitting, but he was not hurting for speed.
Jamie.
Yeah, they just couldn't make up 5 laps. They had to bring it in here. It'll be 4 tires, and they'll fill them up with fuel with 5 to go in the stage.
Daniel Hemrick in.
A little confusion on this 24 stop of what they're doing on tires. That's going to cost them big.
Jeff, they had a right rear air gun issue. That's the reason the right rear tire changer had to go back over there.
So you have a great strategy, plays out, and then you have that failure. Too bad.
Ryan Newman now pits from second. Boyer stays out with the lead. Logano now third. Jimmy Johnson fourth as things cycle around.
Boyer's rolling to pit road really slow through 3 and 4. And I saw the 88 of Alex Bowman when he came to pit road. It looked like he was carrying way too much speed.
Commitment line violation on Bowman, Jeff. He went over the box where the cone would be, and that means he'll have a pass through.
Not a good week for the 88 bunch.
No, they're in a backup car. And there's leader Clint Boyer in the pits.
You can see him carrying a lot of speed, trying to get it slowed down. Runs him wide. You cannot clip those right side tires on that orange box. You got to be all 4 below the orange box.
Clint Boyer with a quick stop with 3 to go in stage 1. The pits will be closed when we get to 2 to go.
And that battle that we talked about that happened on that green flag pit sequence between the 22 of Logano and Jimmy Johnson, that's going to make the difference here for Joey Logano.
Ty Dillon and Matthew Benedetto pit. That leaves only Eric Jones and Ryan Preece, who have not been to pit road since lap 16.
Jones brought out that caution, so I think that has an effect on him.
And pit road is closed. Only car in the pit lane is Alex Bowman doing his pass-through penalty. Logano, Johnson, Elliott, second and third. There is the gap, a car length and a half.
Yeah, I believe that 9 car is a little bit better than Jimmy in the 48. Jimmy Johnson 48. Don't know if he's going to get around him here before we come to the end of this first stage.
Valuable points on the line here for stage points, but also that valuable point for a playoff point to Joey Logano.
Stage ends with Logano, Johnson, and Elliott. A slow car down the back straightaway. That is Ryan Preece,
He's out of
who
fuel.
has not pitted since lap 16, and that will give 10th and the final stage point to his teammate Chris Buescher. A lot of rambling and gambling as Joey Logano picks up his second stage win of the year.
Okay. Stage 1 complete in Texas. Joey Logano taking the lead during that green flag pit stop cycle, firing out of the pits ahead of Jimmy Johnson and holding that gap all the way to the green and white checkered flag. Now, let's see what happens under caution. Now, the cars that stopped really late, there were 6 of them, might have the option with 4 fresh tires of not stopping now, but here come the leaders, Matt.
Mike, an incredible pace so far. The 9 of Chase Elliott hits first. He needs to be freed up. Alan pointed out that they were light on the fuel, and that helped contribute the balance issue at that point. They're going to go 4 tires. Meanwhile, up on the 3, Austin Dillon, they went right sides on the previous stop, trying to top them off. They're going lefts this time. Jamie?
Joey Logano just wants to free up the car a little bit. It's pretty good. He was on the splitter. A little bit of a stagger difference in this set of tires. Meanwhile, the 48 right rear gives up too much, but he says he's pretty good by himself.
See who wins this battle off pit road this time between the 48 and the 22. Johnson.
And there's that advantage back to Jimmy Johnson by having that pit stall right in front of Joey Logano.
Kyle Busch and Austin Dillon each take only 2 tires and come out first.
You say we dial up our stage 1 winner, Joey Logano. Hey, Joey, this is the guys up in the Fox Sports booth. You got me? Well, congrats there on winning stage 1. Nice job on the green flag pit sequence. We documented the great job you did getting on pit road, getting off pit road, and of course, great job by your pit crew to get that lead there to win the stage.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. It's you know, you can pass cars. The leader is the hardest one to pass, it seems like. They just have such an advantage to get through turns 1 and 2. So trying to get the lead is a challenging part. And boys did a good job down on pit road there, getting me up front. So able to hold them off to the end. So pretty fun race there.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch. Good luck the rest of the way. Thank you.
All right, have fun up there. Thanks, guys.
6 drivers chose not to pit at the end of stage 1.
The 9's on 2, right?
Getting ready for stage 2. 5 cars took the wave around. As you see from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, win your battles, earn your name. Goodyear, official tire of NASCAR. Brad Keselowski coasting onto pit road.
Just warming my tires back and forth, and I lost all gears. It's revving up, but it's like I got no drive shaft, no gears, something.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not.
So the engine will rev, but no drive to the rear wheels. Saturday, we've got a doubleheader for you on FS1. Mike Trout and the Angels face the Rangers at 4 Eastern, followed by Chris Bryant and the Cubs taking on the Brewers. It's only on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Brad Keselowski was 5th. He sits on the right of your screen on pit road as the field comes off turn number 4, looking for the green. And here they come to the Geico restart zone. The cars out front that did not pit: Truex, Kurt Busch, Harvick, Clint Boyer, and Almirola.
And Mike, it didn't seem like tires made a huge difference. I mean, the lap times were weren't that great of a difference from used to new tires. So staying out's not a bad option.
Yeah, I actually think it's probably better, Darrell, to have some heat and maybe a little air pressure built up in those tires for these restarts. Heard a lot of guys complain that on low air pressure on new tires, the cars really have some issues. Whoa, that's 18.
Oh my
Busch
gosh.
Through the grass, 3 wide on his brother.
How in the world did he make that work?
3 wide behind them as the one backs up, having to clear out of it. Chase Elliott and Joey Logano take advantage.
Boy, look at the back of that 18 car bouncing through those bumps through 3 and 4.
Kurt Busch cannot be pleased about what just happened.
Oh, I'm telling you, Mike, that was incredible that they made it. Watch this. The 18's on the outside here. He's going to dive all the way to the inside, up beside of Kurt Busch's brother. Gets a little off in the grass, wiggles, wobbles.
And you could see Kurt Busch was trying to side draft Kevin Harvick to try to get position. And when he did that, they stalled out, and that 18 car took advantage of it.
Wow. Pass in the grass 2019.
No, it was a real one.
It was almost a wreck through the grass.
Oh, my.
Whoa, Kyle slides just a little bit up toward Harvick.
Oh, now his brother's going to repay the favor.
Make it 3 wide now.
How you like 3 wide, bro?
One side, 3 wide here, 3 wide.
I don't think Kyle's going to check up just yet.
Oh, he has no give up, I can tell you that.
The one that did give up was Kevin Harvick. Chose to be the wiser guy there and check up and let those guys go to it.
Big arc for Kyle Busch, and he takes 2nd.
Boy, that was a big arc. He went way in there on the outside, made it stick, made it work.
So did Chase Elliott, coming for 3rd. Elliott tries the bottom this time, trying to gain on Kyle Busch, and does. Got a good drive off from the bottom of the racetrack, and they're bumper to bumper.
Yeah, Chase Elliott looks a lot like Jimmy Johnson down turn 1. Got a good turn 1 and 2. Holds his own in 3 and 4, so he might be able to get around Kyle Busch here if anybody can.
Kyle Busch is looking for the lead now on teammate Martin Truex.
He's going down on that bottom
He's
again.
definitely going to get position.
That's just pure desire. I want the lead. I'm going to do whatever I got to do to get it. And so he just took the lead from 19.
Vince?
Well, that 19 of Martin Truex Jr. already has led more laps today than he had all of last season, or all of this season. He led only 4 laps coming into this race, but they had been really pleased with their car really all year long, but especially this weekend. Cole Kern telling me we just just haven't had track position. Well, they're up fighting for it now, so we'll see how that 19 fares against Kyle Busch.
Yeah, very similar package at Atlanta. Remember, I think Martin Truex had the best car at the end of Atlanta, but he got held up a little bit and wasn't able to get up there and race with Keselowski.
A little bit of difference in tires here. You know, you had the 18 of Kyle Busch, who has 2 tires on his car from lap 88. You've got Martin Truex Jr., who took 4 tires under green on lap 79, and then Chase Elliott on our last caution, one of the first cars that took 4 on that last caution. A bunch of cars behind him also took 4.
And you know, we got a long way to go in this race. We're not anywhere. We're not even near halfway. But I got to say that this package today is working the best I've seen it work so far. The air ducts, the lower horsepower, the bigger spoiler. I do really think they got something going here.
And I think it has a lot to do with this surface of this racetrack. This is one of the newer paved racetracks, but also the track temperature and the tire that Goodyear has here. All those things are allowing these cars to stick really good to the racetrack and be able to stay wide open.
Now, when we restarted, we mentioned Brad Keselowski, who is still sitting on pit road. They're looking at the right rear on his car, but doesn't appear like there's a lot going on with last week's winner, as the battle is for second.
Yeah, Keselowski last week perfection, this week predicament.
16 complete in stage 2. Kyle Busch out front. Brad Keselowski pulling off the helmet. He is in the garage. Battle for the lead off turn number 4. Here comes Chase Elliott with those 4 fresher tires.
Well, we'll see if Chase Elliott can complete this pass, but he used a lap car as a pick. He drafted off that lap car as Kyle Busch and that lap car got side by side. He was able to get to the inside rear quarter panel of Kyle Busch and completes the pass now down in 1 and 2.
Yeah, Chase Elliott had a really good car. Remember earlier in the race, he was racing with Jimmy Johnson. They made a couple of tweaks on that car. He's got 4 tires. He just took the lead from Kyle Busch. And I didn't think anybody was going to be able to do that. I always think about Chase Elliott. Think about his dad, Bill Elliott. And I think Jamie was talking about Kurt Busch said his car felt like a 2-legged table. Bill called in one time and said, the car feels like a three-legged dog. They said, what are you talking about? Putting down 3 and carrying 1.
Well, certainly the fans were, a lot of fans are happy to see that in the grandstands.
Let's go to the garage and Matt.
Well, Mike, the 2 team is continuing to work underneath the race cars up on jack stands. Brad, any indication what might have happened in the back end of the race car?
No, I was going 45 mile under yellow, and something just broke in the back. So still has a drive shaft in it, so it's got to be something in the gear and axle area. But it was just kind of a weird kind of fluke thing. We'll see what it is when we get it apart.
Okay, car chief Jerry Kelly took the left side axle out when they were on pit road, put another one in, and still it was definitely something amiss in that rear end.
Well, it takes me back to something they said when Brad Keselowski won his first race of the year and earned his way in the playoffs. He said, well, now maybe we can try some lightweight parts and pieces, experiment some now that we're locked in the playoffs. Wonder if this could have been the result of an experiment.
Wow, yeah, you know, Mike, I know that a lot of people say that, but you don't want to do something that's going to put you out of a race, so I'd always question that.
So, Larry, I'd like to know, we've seen these pit stalls cause some issues in the past for these teams and parts and pieces on the race cars because of the pit box itself. Half of it is concrete, half of it's pavement. What do you think?
Well, there's no question. You can see it right here. You see this is all concrete here, and then out here is asphalt. So that definitely, the grip level is different. And we have seen this many times in the past where you might snap an axle. So let's show you the process that Paul Wolf and the 2 car are going with our Ford Performance Cutaway car, because really, now they can repair this and go back out because this is mechanical. So they're going to have to pull the axles out, and these are the axles right here. There's one in the left and one in the right, and it's actually pretty simple to get those axles out because they only have a little cap right here, and then the axle comes right out on both sides. But as far as changing the gear, yeah, you have to pull the axles out to actually change the gear. Then you have to disconnect the drive shaft right here, and those bolt right there, there's about 12 or 13 of them. They pull that differential out, they put a new one in, hook the drive shaft back up, put the axles back in, and hopefully that rectifies the problem. That's about all that's back there for the most part mechanical, DW.
Yeah, well, it's not that hard if it wasn't hot. But that thing is hot. You can barely touch it.
Good
so you got to work on it with gloves,
and
kid gloves.
We saw last week at Martinsville how easy those axles come out when the cap's not there.
And you know the other thing, I mean, my experience has been wheel hop will tear up a gear quicker than anything. And you just leave pit road, we saw the difference in the concrete asphalt. Maybe he got the wheels hopping and broke a gear, or maybe something happened on the track. I don't know, but wheel hop's really a culprit a lot of times in a situation like that.
I want to quickly mention back at the last pit stop, Ricky Stenhouse's crew was over the wall too soon, but Stenhouse has rebounded and is still on the lead lap here in Texas.
Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Racing on Fox is sponsored by Chevy. Chevy has earned J.D. Power Dependability Awards across cars, trucks, and SUVs.
36 complete of 85 laps in stage 2. Chevrolet out front with Chase Elliott. First time since Daytona last summer that 3 Hendrick Motorsports drivers have led a Cup race. Jimmy Johnson out front for 59 laps, Chase Elliott for 13, and also William Byron for 14. Kyle Busch in second, half a second back. Joey Logano 1 second behind the leader in third.
Yeah, great job to Joey Logano, because on that last restart, Joey Logano and Jimmy Johnson were kind of side by side, and that outside lane seemed to move. And ever since then, Joey Logano's been able to continue to progress while Jimmy Johnson has not.
Now the 3 of them all stopped at lap 88. Here's Kurt Busch in fourth. He was on pit road at lap 73.
Which means he's going to have to come to pit road sooner than the rest of these guys he's racing.
Martin Truex in fifth, lap 79 was his stop. Kevin Harvick goes by. Harvick stopped 1 lap before Truex at lap 78. And then Clint Boyer at lap 82. Those are the drivers that are a little off sequence that made stops late in stage 1 and not at the stage break.
Mike, the fastest car on our timing score here is that 22 car, Logano. He has really cut into the lead of the 18 car who's running second, and the 9 not too far ahead, so that 22 is coming alive again.
And I'm impressed with Clint Boyer right now. He's had a rough weekend, maybe a rough couple weeks, and he actually was running out of fuel just as he came to do his green flag pit stop. So lucky break there, and he's got a fast race car.
Yeah, another guy right there. We see that, Ryan Blaney. That's another guy I think we got to keep an eye on as the day wears on too, Mike, because he has gotten better and better the last several weeks. Top 5s in I think the last 4 or 5 weeks. So really good on that 12 car.
All right, Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano. Let's start with the leader and listen in.
It's about this point in the run where any type of heat or tire issue, balance comes into play. Full snug. That was pretty nice in traffic and stuff, so kind of keep that in mind.
Need more front grip. More front grip, center exit, center mainly, 1 and 2. It just shatters the front tires on me, especially when they shut it off.
I'm tighter on the splitter, a little harder this run. And a little tighter in general. I'm gonna get off the splitter. I'm on the splitter too hard here.
You know, I talked to Joey Logano about that exact thing when I was down on pit road before the race started. And when the tires are new and the air pressures are not built up, you can get on that front splitter. And he said he thought that was going to be a big issue. And you heard him talking about that's something they're going to have to improve if he's going to run as fast as that car is capable of.
Well, he's got a bigger issue right now, and that's Kyle Busch right alongside.
Yeah, they're having a heck of a battle here, side by side. Can't get away from each other.
How about a quick word from Duracell?
This is the #1 trusted brand.
And just like that, Logano gets a launch off the bottom of turn 2.
Boy, if you can nail that for 1 and 2, you can just gap the guy behind you so much. Pretty equal, 22 and 18, both equal in 3 and 4. But man, 22 got a great run in 1 and 2 and was able to get in front of the 18 on that last lap.
Going into that corner, the 1 of Kurt Busch was right with them. They're going to lap past B.J. McLeod with 44 of 85 laps completed in stage 2. Chase Elliott out in front by 1 second.
All right, we're coming in with the best, coolest, everything great about this pit crew. 3-team, Austin Dillon. I'm the tire carrier, Paul Swan.
Front tire changer,
the Bingalow, the cars are running, the cars are running.
Got the jack, man, Darrell Edwards.
Come on, show it, man. Look at that thing. Look at that thing shine. Look at that thing shine, baby. Whoa!
Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series racing on Fox. It's sponsored by Monster Energy, official sponsor of NASCAR.
35 to go in stage 2. David Reagan just made a scheduled pit stop. He's a little off sequence with everybody else. Chase Elliott leads Joey Logano by 1.1. Kyle Busch makes it 3 different makes in the top 3 spots. Kurt Busch, Kevin Harvick, the top 5. Now, Jimmy Johnson led 59 laps. But since that last round of stops, he's been mired outside the top 10, Jamie.
Yes, and coming into this race, he had only led 4 laps all season. So this weekend has been a dream for Jimmy in the 48 team, just like he remembered back in the day. But so far right now, not so good. Now that he's mired back in traffic, this car is so edgy. Jimmy's saying it's ugly at times. Hard to keep a hand on it, so he's looking for some changes on the next stop.
I agree with that. I've seen him sideways a couple of times. My car really looks loose.
Well, he doesn't know what it's like to be in traffic. He's been out front and everything he's done all weekend long so far. So having to adjust. And here's Kyle Larson in 10th position.
Kurt Busch coming to pit road. Remember, he was last on the pit road at lap 73. So we knew he would be the first of the lead group to make this stop. Jamie.
Kurt Busch been so aggressive this race. Very impressive run for him. He just about ran out of fuel, had to flip that extra switch to make it down to pit road. A 4-tire stop here, saying he's just too tight in traffic, but the car overall has been really good up front.
And it's a really good track for Kurt. He is our track record holder at over 200 miles an hour. He's won here, and he's had a good day so far.
Let's see, they tried to add a little bit of tape to that front grille. Unfortunately, they missed it.
So let's go back up front with his younger brother, Kyle Busch, who won the Truck and Xfinity race already this weekend. He is third, 1.7 seconds back.
Why do our motors suck so bad? I don't have enough downforce. Like these guys, they're just wide open. And I am not fast enough. My right front's killed right now. It is mad.
Wow, I mean, that's a surprise because the way that Kyle Busch and this 18 team has run all year long, I would think they've got plenty of downforce, but maybe they came here this weekend trying to trim that car out a little bit too much, and right now he feels like the 9 car has a little bit more than he does.
Vince?
And they've struggled with getting that car to Kyle's liking all weekend long, and they thought, in fact, that they were further off when they unloaded than they've been all weekend. Kyle said he definitely can't stay on the throttle like the 9 does, and he feels like he's abusing the right front. They just haven't found the sweet spot with this balance all weekend long, and they're still searching for it now. Matt?
Vince, you've seen Chase Elliott open up that lead now to 1.4 seconds. When you had the 18 of Busch and the 22 of Logano battling side by side, it really opened it up. But once Logano got free of the 18, he really hasn't closed that gap. But Eddie DeHunt, Chase's spotter, has been keeping him abreast just in case they move around and might pick up some speed with different lines. And Jeff, you've had a lot of experience with veteran Eddie DeHunt in the past, one of the great spotters here in the sport.
Yeah, I certainly did, Matt. He was my spotter when I ended my career driving that 24 car. Excellent spotter, gives a lot of great information. 4 car on the pit road.
Kevin Harvick among those we expect Boyer shortly, Truex, and Almirola, who is on pit road now. Matt.
And Mike, the 4 car going to work. His team, the car was good late in the run, but he had a vibration much of that run. And Harvick said once the air pressure's built up, it seemed to take a swing. They wanted to change the split of the air pressure in the right front. Vince?
Just gas and a chassis adjustment for the 10 of Eric Almirola. Went back on the previous adjustment. Matt?
The 9 of Chase Elliott is in. You can see the hoses thrown out. Nice job there. Elliott, you'd heard him talk earlier just about the balance of the race car and how it had changed through the course of the run, and he's away.
Clint Boyer coming down pit road for his scheduled stop. Jamie.
Clint Boyer said it started out loose, starting to get tight But just before he came down, Mike Bugaravich watching on right now, they told him to switch from battery 1 to battery 2. Could be a little bit of an issue creeping up. We'll keep an eye on it.
Joey Logano and Martin Truex and more head for pit road. Matt. Jamie?
And the 22 at Joey Logano just on the splitter too hard. They wanted to get him off the track. A fuel-only stop for Joey Logano.
Chris Buescher is in. And Daniel Hemrick is the last driver out who was off sequence, pitting 8 laps before the rest of the leaders. Hemrick currently in 11th.
And Mike, it's no surprise to me that we're not seeing a lot of tire changes, because as we watch these lap times, they continue to get faster and faster all the way into a run.
Now remember, guys, that last pit sequence when Joey Logano beat Jimmy Johnson under the green flag stop, Chase Elliott not about to let that happen to him. He tries to get to pit road really fast, too much, almost lost control of that car.
Well, he got it all, as they say.
Yes, he did.
Because he's pitted right up at the end of pit lane. Brad Keselowski has returned from the garage area. Rear end problems hopefully rectified for him. 23 laps to go in stage 2. We'll take you side by side.
Yellow, yellow, yellow. Caution's out here. Blue.
Well, as you saw during our side-by-side coverage, we're under caution because Kyle Larson hit the wall, and as the car came down pit road, his underhood became a flaming Texas fire pit.
Well, this is kind of odd. I mean, it just looked like the car wouldn't turn. That's different than just having a tight condition. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it's a gust of wind or something that sent that car wide, but that almost looked like the right front was just not underneath him or was losing a little bit of air, and he went right in the wall.
So now on this caution, Joey Logano gets the free pass. We expect the 10 drivers who have not yet been on pit road in this cycle, actually 11 drivers counting Bowman and maybe 12 with Eric Jones, they will probably come to pit road. And Larry, would the rest want to take that wave around?
Yeah, because we know that the end of the stage is 20 laps from right now, Mike. So, yeah, for everybody that's a lap down that made those green flag stops, absolutely. You stay out, you take the wave around, you're back on the lead lap, knowing that the end of the stage is coming soon.
Now, because the firemen are out on pit road tending to Kyle Larson's car, the pits will remain closed for one more lap. Matt.
And Mike, before his walk to the infield canner center to get checked out, Kyle Larson told me the tire didn't blow, he said, but it sounded like it was starting to come unwound or something along those lines. It was a very slow deflation of that right front.
Pit crews at the ready. They'll have to wait at least one more lap. So Kyle Larson becomes the first car out of this race now that Brad Keselowski has returned. Tomorrow, Australian bowling sensation Jason Belmonte looks to win his unprecedented third PBA Major of the year at the 2019 USBC Masters. Live coverage from Las Vegas begins tomorrow at 9 Eastern on FS1 and on the Fox Sports app.
Okay, Gordon, what's the highest score? What's your highest score in bowling?
I bowled a 212 one time.
225.
220. Yes, of course you got me beat.
Yeah, 225.
And you probably did it like 15 times. Where I
was awesome.
Daryl, how many sports do you play so I know how many times we're going to do this the rest of this season?
Depends on what the commercials are.
What's your cornhole high score?
I'm good at corn. I won a champion.
Let's keep it out of the gutter as we check in with the studio.
I don't know if cornhole is officially a sport, but we could certainly make it one if you guys want to. Third caution for the day out there at Texas Motor Speedway. And really, there's been some good action on the track, but a lot of the action's been taking place on pit road. Take a look. It started early. Kyle Busch looking for his third win this season, and the sign just wasn't out there.
Yeah, but it actually worked out for him because he stayed out. Tires haven't been that important today, so he was able to restart like 11th, even after missing a sign.
You see right there, you can see the pit stall, the guy's in the green, he's waving his hand. Oh, there's the sign right there. Hey, Kyle, we're right here. The 11 too fast entering pit road. Of course, this was under green.
Well, look, you know, you see what Denny's trying to do. He's trying to gain up all the speed he can, and that's a hard place to get into. And, you know, Denny definitely was speeding right there.
The 8 right here, sliding through his pit stalls. You got to back that up because all 4 have to be inside that stall, and this obviously cost him a lot of time.
Yeah, and this actually he was somewhat fortunate that he slid so far that they were able to back the car up, and the guys hadn't started taking the tires off because they all knew that there was a problem there.
Okay, so what happens right here, Jamie?
Oh, man, the air gun doesn't work, and you see the guy. He's going to have to actually run back around. He's saying, I need a gun, but no one's there to give it to him. So he runs over. He's literally on the other side of the wall getting another gun. This to William Byron felt like a 10-minute pit stop.
I'm sure it did to Chad Knaus as well up on that pit box. Then, of course, we have the 88, a commitment line violation. You see he's got to be down a little bit. That was not where he had to be coming onto pit road.
No, he didn't be there.
Oh, and then this one, the 47 trying to push it, which some of the other guys tried to do as well, but he did not make it, ran out of fuel.
Oh, okay. Brad Keselowski, you know, hey, I think he broke an axle or something in the rear end. We talked about it, but, you know, and we talked about it a while ago about half the pit road is concrete and then asphalt. So not sure if that led to it, but he broke leaving pit road. So you got to think that there's probably something happened when he left pit road on speed.
Are we surprised that all these issues are happening?
A little bit. I mean, like we talked about that how close the cars are going to be on the track, and I feel like the racing's been really good, but there's been a tremendous amount of action on pit road.
A lot of mistakes. We've seen that all year. You know, it seems like it happens to a lot of people a lot of times. You think they clean this up after a while. Trust me, but I know it's hard to get everything right, and some things break, but speeding on pit road, you can't be doing that. Can't afford to do that.
Chase Elliott finished second last week, and a lot of people said, whoa, 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 it's Martinsville. We have to give it one more week. And this is he comes out here, and he's fast again today.
Yeah, and it's not just Chase. I mean, Jimmy led the first part of this race, and he got back in traffic. They're going to have to adjust on that car. I'm looking to see if they can make the right adjustments. He said his car's edgy in traffic, but Chase Elliott's made a couple of passes lead. That's been really impressive.
William Byron, you know, you think about that pit road, not violation, but what they have the pit gun, he was leading up until then. So all 3 of the 4 Hendrick cars have been run up front really good all day.
We sat here yesterday when Kyle Busch certainly did not at times have the fastest car in the race, and of course he was there at the end. What are you expecting to see out of the 18 the rest of this race?
Well, I heard Jeff Gordon say it. He got a little lucky the way the cautions have fallen. The fact that he missed his pit sign, it was still
isn't that like everything? He's always lucky.
For him. But I mean, he's got a really fast car. I heard him say something about needing more downforce. He thought maybe other cars had more downforce. Their car was maybe a little faster, single car speed. So it'd be interesting to see how that works out.
He's still complaining, right? He's not fast enough. He's leading the race, complaining a little bit. All these cars, to me, they do look like they move around, so it looks like some drivability reliability, handling issues throughout. So at least they're having to drive it, makes it a good race.
I know Kyle Larson just has had his issues, but I think we've got to give a attaboy to Kurt Busch, because each and every week he just continues to show strength.
Look, he's been really fast, but Matt McCall again did a really good strategy there by pitting late in the first stage. Then they stayed out at the stage break, similar to what they did at Vegas. Now, I think they got caught a lap down right here, but man, that team has run so well, and the crew chiefs Matt's made some really good decisions.
He did real good not getting mad at Kyle when they went through the grass. So I thought, oh, this is going to be bad. This is not be good for Thanksgiving dinner. But Kurt did a great job, stayed out of that trouble, and he's definitely rebound back for a good run right now.
We're here at the Race Hub Studios. We'll throw it back to our cornhole champions of Texas. Mike, it's all yours.
We'll take you on. Now, we are still under caution, and pit road is not yet open. The reason is they had to put a lot of speedy dry down coming down to Kyle Larson's pit. His car is in the garage. The sweepers are still working on pit road right in front of Matt DiBenedetto's pit and through the 42 pit. So an attaboy to the sweep-up crew here.
So, Mike, does that put them into any fuel window here? Are they concerned about running out of fuel under caution?
Good question. 10 drivers will need to pit. They've not been on pit road since lap 88, Larry.
Yeah, and again, you're running slow on the banking, and yeah, they need to get to pit road. These 10 that hadn't pitted since lap 88, Mike.
All right, pit road is open. Kyle Busch will lead them down. Vince?
Well, and Kyle Busch has multiple issues with this car that they're going to try to address. But crew chief Adam Stevens said we're going to have to split the middle because we can't take care of both. But he definitely needs it to turn better on exit. So they're going to help the car. They're also going to help the driver with a fresh drink and a new bag of ice. Chassis adjustment, 4 tires. Meanwhile, Denny Hamlin a gas and go for the 11. Jamie.
And the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, just so edgy in traffic now that he lost the lead. But once he says he gets away from other cars, it's not so bad. It snugs up nicely. A 4-tire stop for Jimmy Johnson, who started the day on the pole.
So the first 10 drivers back to Ricky Stenhouse have now all made those pit stops.
Like a jack issue.
155.
Looks like a jack issue on the left side of that 48 pit
he's
stop.
still there. Just now leaving the pits.
15 to go in stage 2. We're under caution for this. Kyle Larson with a big hit coming out of turn 2.
Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series racing on Fox is sponsored by Busch, the official beer of NASCAR. 13 laps to go in stage 2. Earlier, Jimmy Johnson and Joey Logano battled for the lead. Now they both had trouble when the jackman working the right side on the pit stop attempts to pick up his jack to come around. The handle comes loose and out. But look at the recovery he makes, carrying both pieces, setting them on the wall, reinserting the handle, and finishing the stop. Joey Logano got the free pass and then had an uncontrolled tire violation on his stop. Denny Hamlin found his way back to the front, overcoming an earlier penalty with a gas and go stop here with 12 to go in stage 2.
That team beats all I've ever seen. They can get in trouble on pit road, get penalties, everything else. Some way they figure a way to get themselves back in the race, and here they are.
But I always say, Daryl, because we've talked about this a lot, just imagine if they didn't have the issues on pit road. They might have won a lot of races by now.
Johnson is 10th, battling for the final stage point as the Joe Gibbs Toyotas fight for the lead up front.
Well, I think a guy that finally surfaced that I thought would have a good day is that 41 car of Daniel Suarez. That car was fast in qualifying, Mike, pretty good in practice, and here he is finding himself near the front now, so keep an eye on Suarez.
Ryan Blaney in the 12 was not fast in qualifying, but they found something in practice yesterday. He's got a good Ford.
He does. He's worked his way up to the front as well.
Where did Ryan Newman come from in 5th? He also caught that caution, stayed out, and was able to get up here all the way in the top 5.
You know, I wouldn't say Newman doesn't always have the best car, but Newman he's such a tenacious driver. He always seems to find a way to get himself in the mix somehow.
Third place, Blaney on the inside of Suarez.
Yeah, Blaney is slowly working his way up there. He's got a fast race car. Watch for him to be a real factor in this race as this thing unfolds. But I'm really impressed with our leader, Denny Hamlin, right now. No tires on that last stop, just gas and go. I think there's a slight advantage when those tires have some heat and the air pressures are up for a few laps on these restarts versus those new tires.
Yeah, I just time and time again, I just haven't seen where the 4 tires, even 2 tires has been an advantage over used tires.
Tight corner, tight corner.
Suarez and Blaney fighting side by side. Look, they brought 4 more cars into this battle with them.
Paul Menard.
Well, they were just side by side. We're going to go 3 wide. Sponsored by John Deere. Denny Hamlin with that gas-only stop. He is your leader. Jimmy Johnson with the difficulty on pit road, sitting in 10th. And Joey Logano, Larry, with that uncontrolled tire, back in 15th.
Yeah, I mean, Mike, this is going to be very, very borderline. This was on that last trip to pit road. But it all came down to trying to make an adjustment to the race car. You're going to see the tire carrier. He's going to put the tire in right there and see he's going to make the adjustment. That tire right there, it's more than an arm's length away, and that's the rule. Borderline, but it was outside of an arm's length reach.
Yeah, and Larry, to me, this is when we see these penalties happen, is when somebody goes to make an adjustment, either pull out a spring rubber or go do a wedge adjustment or track bar adjustment, and they just are stalled a slight bit on the adjustment before they can get back to that tire. It has to all be coordinated perfectly.
Way too borderline for me.
Jamie?
Well, the day was going so well for Joey Logano until that stop. Now matters have gotten worse. He just radioed to his crew that it feels like the hood of his car is popping up, and we were on that onboard. Look at it closely, Jeff. See what you can.
Oh, I thought the same thing, Jamie. I was about to say something when we were on board. You could see the hood buffeting and coming loose. Now, I don't know if some of the hood pins have sheared or if it's just how much turbulent air is being moved around that car right now.
I think it's the air. I think it's turbulent air.
Oh, I don't know. I've never seen a hood moving like that before.
Well, you know what? It won't do that long.
No. Be up and over.
The next thing you'll hear is, I can't see where I'm going.
You can see it's like caved in the front. It's completely caved in the front side of it.
I think all the hood pins are in.
How about the bracing underneath
I think it's
those
the bracing,
pins,
Mike.
Jeff?
You're exactly right. The bracing underneath there has come loose. Wow, what an amazing shot by our
difficulty, but not a violation.
That's a good question. I mean, Larry might have more on that, but it's not like the hood's come off, but maybe it's something that NASCAR looks at when this race is over.
Well, his teammate Ryan Blaney fighting for second now with Kyle Busch.
Boy, great job of Ryan Blaney right there.
18, tighter your corner, clear.
You can see Blaney.
2 to 2 wide by 3.
Ryan Blaney did a great job side drafting Kyle Busch, but he recognized that Suarez was coming with a big run, moved down to block it to complete that pass.
The pits are closed, 2 to go in stage 2. Vince, how about the 18?
Yeah, one of the issues that Kyle had prior to that previous stop, A, he couldn't get it to turn well. That's what they addressed on the pit stop. B, he said it was just on the splitter. That's still the case, and he said it's really causing it to be extremely tight. That's why he's lost those last couple of positions. A lot of work left to do on this 18.
Well, they'll get a chance to fix it here in a couple of laps.
Yeah, so will
Paul Menard up to 5th place. And behind him, Ryan Newman had to start last because of failing inspection. And Newman has come to 6th place.
Well, sometimes you just got to get a break. And he certainly got that when they chose to stay out and catch that caution. Stenhouse, nice job to him. Teammate to Ryan Newman. They were on the same pit strategy.
Yeah, he had a penalty earlier, Jeff, but he's come right back up into the top 10. 8th, William Byron, our outside pole sitter, and a nice run for Michael McDowell, sitting in 9th.
Seems like you want to have an issue today on pit road if you want to be up front in this race right now.
I don't know, the 22, that's 2 for him because he got a tire and now he's got a hood problem.
So caution and the stage-ending flag for Denny Hamlin, who used a gas-only pit stop to lead on the restart, and Denny gets his first stage win of 2019. Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Racing on Fox is sponsored by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Progressive Insurance, revving up the savings on home and auto insurance. Stage 2 complete. Denny Hamlin leads them on to pit road. And not everybody's coming, Vince.
Well, Hamlin is coming. He took gas only last time strictly for the track position, because when this 11 car is out front, it is sporty indeed. But now they're going to take 4 tires for Hamlin, hoping he keeps that track position. As far as the 18 of Kyle Busch, chassis adjustment and gas only for the 18 of Kyle Busch.
You know, guys, we see the split decision there on some guys staying out, some drivers pitting. I think the bottom line, we've seen tires absolutely do nothing. We just saw that with Denny Hamlin in the 11. And no matter if you pitted there or did not, everybody has to make at least 2 more pit stops. And we see all kinds of trouble with Mark Truex Jr. in the 19. They were actually working on that right side roof flap earlier in the race.
What do you say we dial up?
All right, they get that to retract. And Daryl, how about Jeff and I are a little busy here.
Yeah.
So
you guys go ahead and eat your ice cream. I got to talk to the stage winner.
You get yours later.
Hey, Denny Hamlin, it's DW. And Denny, I got good news. Hey, Denny Hamlin, it's DW. Congratulations on the stage win there. Hey, and I got some good news for you, buddy.
All right, let's hear it.
I'm not going to ask you about pit road, but the stage 2 winner has won the last 4 races this season, and both races here last year. That's got to make you feel pretty good.
Well, I'm really not sure that means a whole lot. We're racing a little bit different now than what we used to in the past, but certainly we knew that we wanted the track position there to see our car would run clean here, and obviously it was extremely good. So now we just got to get back there.
Yeah, you look really good out front, and keep it up, buddy, and we'll be watching.
And unfortunately, we've got some bad news.
Yes, bad news to go with the good news. He and Kevin Harvick both have a pit road violation. Uncontrolled tire for Hamlin.
How much closer the tire can be to him?
I'm with you. I've got to where I watched that.
Somebody's got to explain it to Joe and JD afterwards.
That's fine. That's fine.
Tear up a race car about it.
No explanation. He says he can't change it. How come we not change it? They said they called us to explain what was going on. They need to explain what was going on.
They wanted an explanation.
They want an explanation?
They wanted. Yeah.
Okay. What'd you tell them?
The right front is uncontrolled.
The right front is...
Now let's go back to Denny Hamlin, because what we showed you was not the violation that NASCAR called. You see the right front tire sitting out there as the tire changer finishes up. We're okay, but right now, no one who can carry that tire is within an arm's length of it.
Yeah, the jackman doesn't really count. So it's either the tire changer or the tire carrier that has to be an arm reach from that tire.
It's such a timing thing that
now waiting for the tire changer to get past him, he bumps the tire carrier, and right there he is more than an arm's length from that tire, so it counts as uncontrolled.
I reckon.
Let's get ready for the restart. Ryan Blaney, Daniel Suarez on the front row, 5 Fords out front as the Chevy Silverado pickup that paces the field. Going to make that hard left turn, and we go back to green with 20 cars on the lead lap.
And I'm with you, Darryl. I don't necessarily agree with the types of calls that NASCAR is getting involved with that tire violation, but they've been pretty adamant about calling it recently.
One back to the 6. By 2. By 3. So side by side back there. So by 3, 41's got the run up top, so 2 back. Back to even behind you, so 2 back.
Well, we've been talking about Ryan Blaney. What can he do? He's out front now. We're going to find out.
I think Blaney's really good. I also think Suarez is really good, and it's kind of fun to see that 21 car, Paul Menard, up there in the mix as well. It's a good car.
Jamie?
Well, Ryan Blaney, there was a lot of discussion about whether to pit, and they were planning on pitting for fuel only to stay with the competition. But at the last minute, Jeremy Bullen said, let's stay out. We can do this in 2 more stops.
Jimmy Johnson had a big slide up the hill. He's going to give up 2, 3, maybe 4 positions.
Boy, he really went up the hill, Mike. I thought he was going to hit the wall, but he caught it.
I just think Jimmy Johnson in clean air, that car has enough air to keep that car underneath him, but in this dirty air, car is really edgy in the back end.
He just took off.
Side by side for third, Menard and William Byron, the outside pole sitter. We're going to crank it up, sponsored by Progressive.
He just ran half a lane up down here last time, not a full lane, by 4. So by 4. 34 trying to fill the bomb on that inside. 4 same lane. So 3 same lane, gonna have a run down the front. Yeah, still inside door. So far, still 95. Clear, clear. All clear. Still there. 30 is coming you on the bottom. 47 still out there. Clear him. Door, bumper, bumper, clear, 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 clear. 43, 37, 88, and 95. Clear. So the 88, 95 up here. 9, you're on 1 back. Half back, no slower. Still there, corner. Right door, 9, come back to help, half back. 9 with you, 4 back. So your help at your door. Quarter, 9 coming to push. 1 back, half on you. Still inside. Still there. Bumper, still there. Bumper, clear, clear, clear. All clear. Back inside, back inside. No help out back right now, either one of you. 10 still inside. Coming to help you here again. Still inside door. Still 1 back, 9. You've got the 19 with him on the bottom, 9 half back with you. You're clear, 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 all clear. All right. Ball 1 now, let's get the 9. Hanging, don't help. That's going to push the middle. Still 2 wide.
outside by himself.
Fourth place, Kyle Busch, William Byron. Like Harry Hogg told Cole Trickle, we could have done this earlier, but we were eating ice cream.
And it's good, too. You know, one thing I've noticed, Mike, a lot of guys are moving up the track just a little bit. They're running a little wee bit higher in 1 and 2, not much, but 3 and 4, I think that the traction compound is really kicking in the middle of 3 and 4, and I see them running a lot higher line through there than they were earlier.
Well, William Byron losing a lot of positions after Kyle Busch was able to get to the inside of the 24. Now he's going to lose 3 more positions.
Byron will settle in 8th place, as Ryan Blaney has now been out front for 15 laps here in Texas.
We're coming in with the best, coolest, everything great about this pit crew. 3-team, Austin Dillon. I'm the tire carrier, Paul Swan.
Front tire changer,
the Bingalow, the cars are running, the cars are running.
Got the jack, man, Darrell Edwards.
Come on, show it, man. Look at that thing. Look at that thing shine. Look at that thing shine, baby. Whoa!
Styling and profiling in front of our Procast of the Coca-Cola Racing family. There's Austin Dillon in 5th behind Ryan Newman and Daniel Suarez, ahead of Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano. Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson out of the race. Paul Menard has a vibration. That's why he's on pit road out of sequence at lap 194.
I just look at our top 10 though, of guys. Blaney's leading, Suarez second. Kyle Busch he's there every week, but then Newman, Dillon, Boyer, Byron, Almirola, Kurt Busch, Martin Truex. I mean, those guys, There's some names in there we don't get to talk about a whole lot.
And I just think, Darrell, this package creates that, right? We have a tire that doesn't wear out. The speeds don't slow down. The cars seem to stay on top of one another. Track position is so important. So it just seems to me like you're able to get out of sequence and make it an advantage out of it.
I think here's a guy that's lurking. I really, really do. I felt good about this 41 car. Mentioned earlier, that car broke the track record here at 200 miles an hour around this joint. I know that was a while back, but this car really is running well today, and he's doing a great job.
In the final round of qualifiers, Suarez was the one car that went out by himself, according to plan, and made a lap good enough to start in 4th place. And here he is, Vince, running 2nd.
Well, it's extra special for him here, too, because even though he hasn't had good results here, he loves racing here in Texas because this is the only track his family and friends can drive to from Daniel's hometown in Mexico. So they went out, they qualified well. In fact, starting 4th, his best starting position of the season. And crew chief Billy Scott told me before the race today, they were really happy with what they had to run with, and they liked the fact they were starting up front. They thought that track position would be key. Seems that's been the case.
And I've heard Daniel say that he and Billy Scott are starting to really communicate well together. And that's something I think people don't realize about Daniel Suarez. He needs his team and his crew chief to believe in him, to believe that he can get the job done, and today he's showing them.
Hello, Newman coming for 4th place. Now, Austin Dillon is going to have to stop before the rest of these leaders, about 10 laps before, based on the cycle that he is on. Clint Boyer pokes the nose in, but Jamie, how about Newman today?
No kidding. What a run for him. Remember, he had that penalty earlier, had to start in the back of the pack. But in practice, they really felt like they could tuck up. Scott Graves, the crew chief, said they could tuck up under other cars and draft. And good thing, because he's had to do a lot of it today. Right now, saying he's really happy with the balance. They last pitted on lap 155.
And Jamie, this kind of 500 miles at Texas, 334. This is kind of a Ryan Newman kind of race. You got to just man up and grab hold of that steering wheel and fight that thing right to the end, and that's what Newman is good at.
William Byron right there behind Newman, lurking on the inside. That is for 6th place, and behind them Almirola, Kurt Busch, Martin Truex, Chase Elliott.
And Mike, we've talked about this racetrack. This is a hard racetrack to run. Turns 1 and 2 so challenging. 3 and 4 you run wide open, so you never rest here. You're always up on the wheel.
Wow, what a move by Kurt Busch. You saw the 10 of Almirola close up to the rear bumper. William Byron went up the racetrack and opened up the door for Kurt Busch.
Well, we've seen this all day long. When 2 cars are side by side, all they do is bring other cars right up to them. That's what's happened here.
Those air ducts are creating such a big wake. Allows the cars behind you to draft right up to you.
Yeah, you see where Eric Almirola he closed up so close, and then the car started jumping up the racetrack. Kurt Busch saw that, never checked up. But this battle
continues.
Yeah, still continues.
The report on Paul Menard, he had a loose right front wheel. That's why he made that stop.
That's a shame. He was having a solid day.
Back behind Kurt Busch is Chase Elliott, currently 11th. Here's Larry Max with today's Driving Trust.
Mike, this is Chase Elliott's 4th full-time season in the Cup Series, and Alan Gustafson has been his crew chief the entire time. It took them 99 Cup races to find victory lane last year at Watkins Glen. They ended up winning 3 of the final 15 races of 2018. Together, they've made the playoffs their first 3 years, and they finished in the top 10 in points. You heard Matt Yoakum talk about spotter Eddie DeHunt. He's been Chase's spotter the entire time. Eddie also at one time spotted for Chase's dad, Bill Elliott. I would say Eddie DeHunt is some Duracell driving trust for Chase Elliott.
Thanks, Larry. Now, Kurt Busch was on pit road at 173. This is only 31 laps after that, so write this up as an unscheduled stop. Jamie?
Yes, indeed, Mike. Kurt radioed to his crew about 5 laps ago. He felt a vibration, so we've heard that now from a few different drivers, saying the car's a little bit tight too, but didn't want to risk it. Brought him in. It'll be 4 tires here. You saw the tear off, so he has clear vision. And air pressure adjustment as well was already done.
And Mike, it could be, I'm sure it's probably a loose wheel because that drivers complain about it and when they come in the pit, but it also could be the traction compound. As it wears off, the track will change and it'll make your car feel a little bit different. I'm not saying you're picking up a vibration, but you are going to change the way the car feels.
Second place, and Kyle Busch almost was able to thread the needle between that lapped car and Daniel Suarez.
We've been noticing that a lot. Some passes have been made today where you use that lap car as a pick to stall out the car in front of you and gain some advantage in the draft.
Let me tell you, you don't want to leave a crack in the door for that 18 car, because he will push his way right through it.
Suarez maintains second, 1 second behind race leader Ryan Blaney, with 127 laps to go in Texas on Fox.
Logano behind you's a lap down. We're racing Hamlin behind him.
This fall, Fox becomes the new network home of WWE's SmackDown Live. You can catch it all every Friday night, beginning October 4th, only on Fox. 121 laps to go here in Texas. Here's your Progressive race summary. Ryan Blaney, the most recent of 10 leaders, 13 lead changes, 17 cars on the lead lap, 4 caution flags so far. 2 for cause and 2 for the stage end. This season, Ryan Blaney has led more laps than any other driver who has not yet been to victory lane this year. So finally, Austin Dillon comes in, Matt.
The 4-tire change. He was going rights, left, rights. The last stop, they made a 4-tire change because he had a significant vibration, not only in the steering wheel, but in the seat. They looked at the wheels that came off, and it did not have a loose wheel, but we've been hearing about vibrations up and down pit road today. He needed to be a little bit tighter on that run. Danny Stockman tightened him up. Jamie?
And Kurt Busch had come in. This is the right front. They're riding on it right now, but if we could spin it around just a little bit to show exactly what happened. Look at the tire. Basically came apart. They thought maybe it was a loose wheel, but that was the issue. Good timing on them to come in and change it.
Wow, nice catch by Kurt.
Well, and let's remember, Kyle Larson had a similar issue. He wasn't sure what the problem was, but it could have been something similar, and those are teammates, Chip Ganassi Racing. So keep an eye on those right front tires. You know, we've talked about this all weekend long. Even though the cars are going slower down the straightaway, through the center of the corner, they're going about 8 to 10 miles an hour faster. Going to be real hard on right front tires.
Well, speaking of fast, let's talk really fast. The fastest lap of this race was just turned by, what does Bubba Wallace call him? YRB, young Ryan Blaney. And that'll be enough of that.
Yeah,
Pit
just
stop time.
bring it to pit road. You're running too fast.
They know how back. Nose you're pitting, room out back. Nice and easy here. First gear at the line, remember your sections.
Now on fuel, he might have been able to go another 5 to 7 laps based on when Austin Dillon came in and the number of caution laps we've had since they were last on pit road. Jamie.
And Ryan Blaney, he last took 4 tires and they made a good track bar adjustment, air pressure adjustment. Said that front turn is finally a little bit better for the 12. They were talking about 2 tires here. They'll fill them up with fuel. They have the tires on the wall. They will go ahead and take 4 tires here as well.
So other drivers that last stopped at 155 when Blaney did include Suarez, Byron, Newman, Stenhouse, and Bowman among the lead lap cars. So we expect them shortly. The up and down day of Denny Hamlin had a penalty for too fast exiting pit road on the first caution of the day at lap 15. Used a fuel only stop to get back up front, and then a tire violation put him to the back. A roller coaster day if you want to graph Denny Hamlin's position lap by lap through the first 220 here.
I didn't know that when I would talk to him. Some had good news. I forgot there might be a little bad news in there too.
Daniel Suarez is in. Second of the drivers who had last stopped at 155. Vince?
What a great day it's been for Suarez, too. They've been fighting a tight race car, but that's really been the only issue, and that has not been nearly as significant as others have dealt with. Now, this pit crew, it's a new collection of athletes, but they have been improving after some struggles out of the gate. They've been getting some extra reps in the Xfinity Series as well, so they certainly need to have a good day today and continue to build that confidence with this 41 team. Nice stop.
Alex Bowman also in. He's going to get 4 tires in Sunoco race fuel. That will leave William Byron and Ryan Newman. And Newman's on pit road now, among those we expect in this part of the pit stop cycle. Jamie.
And Texas hasn't been very kind to Ryan Newman. Only 1 top 10 in the last 10, but today, what a turnaround. Worked his way all the way up into the top 10. They've got the wrench in the rear window. It'll be a track bar adjustment. Fill it up with Sunoco fuel, and it'll be a 4-tire stop for the 6 of Newman.
And here's William Byron, leaving only Ricky Stenhouse. And here comes Stenhouse. This will complete the cycle of drivers who were last on pit road at 155. As we cross through lap 223, Jamie.
And William Byron on the left in the 24. Earlier, they had that pit gun issue. Johnny Roberts, the tire changer, the gun actually split. The handle came off in his hand during the stop. Got the backup gun. They haven't had any issues since. The car has been good, and another good stop by the 24.
Thanks, Jamie. 110 laps to go in Texas. Kyle Busch leading Clint Boyer and Eric Almirola. Martin Truex and pole sitter Jimmy Johnson.
right.
Cut off. Water pressure, your, I don't know, there was no water. Wasn't even close on temp.
Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series racing on Fox, sponsored by Ring.com. With Ring, you're always home. By Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR, perfect for race fans. And by Geico, official partner of NASCAR.
104 laps to go. Clint Bowyer on pit road. Watch Ryan Blaney right here. Little puff of smoke there. It's going to get bigger as he comes past start-finish line, and just like that, all three Team Penske cars have had trouble today. Jamie.
And he was looking so good. So Ryan Blaney came in. He said, my temperatures look fine. And then all of a sudden, the smoke. He said, I think we've blown up. They've gone under the hood. They're running back and forth. They think maybe it's something they can fix and can continue the race. Meanwhile, on the left side, Clint Bowyer had his issues earlier. Thought he had an alternator issue. Went back and forth from one battery to the next. He just made his stop.
Now Bowyer's stop will begin about 10 lead lap drivers coming onto pit road as we cycle through green flag stops. They were all last on pit road lap 173 and 4.
It's amazing amount of trouble Clint Bowyer has had this year. Even in he can't even get through qualifying without a problem. So they just really something needs to be happening, but it's good for this 14 because they have struggled.
And they are pushing Ryan Blaney's car to the garage.
Yeah, you could see that one crew member kind of give the signal that I believe we're done.
Well, you just don't see much engine problem anymore. It's almost like these things run forever. So very unusual when you see something happen to one of the engines.
And I'm a little surprised by that, Darrell, because as you and I have been down on pit road, we've seen, you know, the openings on these grills and how taped up they are. They run these water temperatures really high these days to perform the aerodynamics, to perform at its highest level. You would think that'd put a major toll on the power underneath the hood.
And I think here, Jeff, maybe so, because you're in the throttle so much. I know we're only talking about 550 horsepower. That's kind of what they rate these engines at. But you're in the throttle all the time, just constantly hammering that engine. So maybe that has something to do with it.
Kyle Busch, who won the truck race, the Xfinity race, and is the leader now. He's led 38 laps so far today and is looking to go to victory lane for the third time this weekend.
3 different vehicles, 3 different series, 3 different crew chiefs. You put Kyle Busch behind the wheel of anything and you're going to get a guy that can win a race.
And about that truck race win, we have heard about Kyle Busch taking money out of the pockets of little kids in the truck series. Kyle was the youngest driver to finish in the top 5 Friday night.
I saw that, yeah.
How about that?
And yesterday, I mean, I didn't think he was going to win that race yesterday, but all of a sudden things worked out. He found himself in victory circle.
Kyle Busch is our Toyota top performer, leading the race with 99 laps to go. Denny Hamlin in 4th, Eric Jones
up to 5th, and Martin Truex Jr. in 17th.
99 bottles of beer on the wall.
Denny Hamlin in, Almirola.
Earlier in the day, we saw Denny Hamlin had an issue getting to pit road. Let's watch him trying to get to pit road. He had another issue. The back end this time came around and almost spun out as he was trying to slow down.
Matt?
And Mike, the 9 of Chase Elliott is in on the left side of your screen. About 25 minutes ago, he said the car was fine, no changes. But since then, Vince, the car has been on the tight side, whether in traffic or by himself.
Well, on the 11 of Denny Hamlin, you saw him pitting as well. Denny just said, I needed to hold on longer during the course of the run if he's going to be aggressive, especially in traffic. They're continuing to work on it.
I just believe it's the traction compound, Mike. I think I've seen cars running higher and higher. Everybody was hugging the bottom. Now they kind of moved up the track. I think it's the traction compound.
Well, the first 5 are due on pit road, and here is the leader, Kyle Busch. Jimmy Johnson is due, so is Jones, Harvick, and Hemrick, Vince.
Well, and Adam Stevens, the crew chief, was telling me that improving the drivability is key for this driver, Kyle Busch. He wants to have a clear understanding of where the edge is, and they have to continue to improve the drivability on the 18 today. 4 in chassis. Matt?
Vince on the 4 car for Kevin Harvick. He's been on the splitter. He's been on the tight side. He's been on the free side. In traffic, dirty air, doesn't matter. At one point, he just said that the car is bouncing, hopping all over the place. It's just been simply evil today. They've made a number of adjustments, haven't really helped.
I think we've heard that a lot out of Kevin about that car. The bouncing, not driving well. I'm surprised.
And he had a lot of wheel spin trying to get out of his box and had a difficult exit there. Jamie.
And Jimmy Johnson led 59 laps earlier after starting on the pole, but once he got shuffled back in traffic from pit stops, the handling just went away. Again, Jimmy Johnson, another driver who had troubles. You look at the jack all staying together last time. The handle popped out of the jack. So definitely a fair share of problems down here. About every driver at this point, Mike, it feels like.
Well, this is everyone but Matt Tifft, who was due during this part of the green flag stop cycle. Has made a stop. Tifft is out there in 18th, and Daniel Suarez is the leader.
Remember, Daniel Suarez is one of the first ones to come to pit road under green.
Let's take a look at Kevin Harvick as he comes to pit road. I almost thought he didn't know where his pit box was. He just kind of eased down pit road and eased into his pit box. I mean, he wasn't in a hurry at all.
Kind of weird to see him come in sideways and not really be on his marks.
Jeff, I think when he exits the box, he accelerates through the first 2 stalls on the concrete, so he doesn't get into that left side on concrete, right side on asphalt when he's spinning his tires. Yeah. There may be a method to that madness.
It could very well be, but there's something odd about the way he's been coming in and out of the pits. He's done it a couple of times, I've noticed.
And going back to some of the issues that they're having with the suspension and the bouncing, remember, these cars have a lot more drag and downforce. They're being pushed down into the racetrack more than they ever have. And I think what these teams are having to do to hold the cars from traveling too far is run very stiff springs and shocks on these cars and taking the ride quality completely out of it.
Now everybody, including Matt Tifft, has now made their stop during that part of the cycle. Let's go back about 10 laps when Kyle Busch had caught up there to Joey Logano in the 22 on the low side. And Kyle had to way back out of it, and here is his radio.
What the hell did the 22 just do right there? He stopped going down the straightaway to make sure I was in a particular situation. He did brake check and lift. I mean, we got data on him. If he does it again, he'll come back and haunt him. He's going to come back and haunt him anyway. Just go ahead and tell him that. I know. I fight this fight every week, and then he bitches at me because he said we're racing too hard. So brake checking, that's pretty cool to do. But that's what he's into, blocking.
I don't know.
I mean, to me, Joey was in a situation where he was on the flat, and to me, it just seemed like he needed to slow down a little bit more. But Kyle's seeing something that maybe the rest of us can't see when he's out there competing with him.
Well, and Joey did have 2 cars to his outside, and where were they going to go? We're not sure. 90 laps to go. Daniel Suarez, Kyle Busch, Clint Bowyer. Kyle Busch has taken the lead from Daniel Suarez, doing it around the outside using Reed Sorensen as a pick. Now, fellas, this is not the Credit One who's going to win. It's the Credit One ones to watch. Jeff.
Well, Mike, I know he just lost the lead, but Daniel Suarez has impressed me all weekend long. He's come off of a top 10 at Martinsville, top 10 earlier at Atlanta. I think today he and Billy Scott might get to victory lane.
Well, Jeff, let me stress, pit road could be the difference. Every driver has to make at least one more pit stop. Clint Boyer, my man, the only thing he's won this year is Radio Sweetheart twice on Race Hub. I think he may be poised to get the victory lane.
Let me see. I won Friday, I won Saturday, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to win today. I'm going to give the broom to Kyle Busch.
No, DW, hold on. Austin Dillon and Danny Stockman, they continue to impress and execute just outside the top 5. 10th here last fall. Keep an eye on the 3 car. They're knocking on the door of that top 5 finish, which then hopefully they'll propel them to a win.
Well, Daryl, I've got the crying towels out here just in case you should need them. I'm going to keep an eye on William Byron. He got his first career top 10 here last year. He's never had a top 5 in the Cup Series yet, but he's running in 5th, number 24. And that's our Credit One Bank ones to watch.
We were all over that, weren't we? Brooms, crying towels.
Jimmy Johnson on the way back toward the front, he hopes, battling Ryan Newman here for 8th place.
I just like Johnson's battling. When he had the lead, he didn't want to give it up. Had some problems, got to fall back in the field. Now he's working his way back to the front.
Daniel Hemrick, right rear tire down. Caution is out at lap 254.
Yeah, that thing is in pieces.
Larry?
Guys, this caution is a big break for Kurt Busch because you just heard me say everybody has to make one stop. With Kurt having that issue earlier, he was actually going to have to make 2 green flag stops should we have stayed green to the end.
20 cars were on the lead lap at the time of caution. I believe Chris Buescher, well, no, we'll wait and double check this with scoring. And there is the spin from the right rear.
Yeah, if I had to guess, that thing probably came apart on the front straightaway. That's what allowed Daniel Hemrick to do a pretty masterful job of keeping it out of the wall and stay in this thing.
And no free pass, NASCAR says, which would have meant that Hemrick would have been in that position at the time of caution. And, of course, is ineligible since he brought out the caution.
And you could see a little damage to the right side where he may have made contact with the wall. I wouldn't be surprised if that fender was pushed in and cut that right rear tire.
He pitted just 17 laps ago. Gorgeous day here in Texas. Our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Win your battles, earn your name. Goodyear, official tire of NASCAR. That view from the sky reminds me of a special guest the Speedway has here today. General Chuck Yeager, the man who broke the sound barrier flying Mach 1 and the Bell X-1 rocket plane, 96 years old, and guest of the track here today.
Oh man, I'm a big Chuck Yeager fan.
No kidding.
If you've never read his book, Mike, you probably have. It is one, and I don't read a lot of books, but I got to tell you, I've read that one.
Yes. Well, if you like this, just wait till next week.
NASCAR is storming through Thunder Valley. That's right, we're headed to Bristol. This half-mile track will throw drivers for a loop as they battle through tight turns and steep banks. Which of these gladiators will capture the checkered flag at the last great Coliseum? Coverage begins at 12:30 Eastern on FS1.
16 cars on the lead lap in Texas with 78 to go. What will they do? What will Daniel Suarez do?
Just letting you know, we're setting ourselves up to be in a dangerous spot if we stay out now because we're the only ones that have made this work and still have track position. A lot of them other guys have either torn blue up and the other guys have fallen back. So probably going to pit here of some sort.
All right, Kyle Busch and Daniel Suarez to lead them onto pit road. Vince?
Well, it's interesting. Kyle Busch and Adam Stevens having a discussion about what they were going to do with the car, and sometimes teams talk in code. They gave him the option, Batman or Grey's Anatomy. Well, they settled on Grey's Anatomy. That'll be no tires and a half round in the left rear with a little tape on the front. How about the 41 of Daniel Suarez? They knew, you heard on the radio, they were going to have to come or they were going to put themselves in a dangerous position. 4 tires and gas for Daniel.
Oh, Boyer had a tough job getting out of his pit. Ryan Newman was almost out in the pit lane just in front of them. Remember, those two had an issue on Friday during qualifying.
How did they end up in the pits together like that?
And then Newman, of course, had to get out around Kurt Busch. Coach Gibbs looking on. Here's a look at it.
Well,
very sharp.
all over one another there. Well, almost a violation for the 6 car. He's right on the line with that right rear.
77 laps to go in Texas. Green flag next time by. Fox Sports Supports, proud to partner with Action for Healthy Kids, a nonprofit working to improve children's health and well-being in schools nationwide. Involve your local school in Every Kid Healthy Week this April 22nd to 26th by visiting actionforhealthykids.org. Getting set for this restart. The only cars out of this race, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, and Timmy Hill, who yesterday had a career first, getting to run in the Xfinity race with his brother Tyler.
It just seems like, who's next, Mike? I mean, everybody in this race has had some kind of issue. Now we see the 20 of Eric Jones. He had a spin early in this race, and now he's up there on the front row.
So the first 3 drivers, Almirola, Jones, and Chase Elliott, did not stop. So they are off sequence with the rest of the field as we go back to green, 74 to go.
And Mike, it just seems like if you can get out front, you're hard to pass. I've heard that from a number. We heard it all day long. You get out front, hold the lead.
Still there. Still there.
18's out there. 1 to the 9, your road. Still there, 18. Still there, no pressure in your lane, still outside.
Eric Jones, who brought out the first caution of the day with a harmless spin at lap 15, is out in front of his Joe Gibbs teammate Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin.
Gibbs' car's getting up there and working together.
1, 2, 3 right now.
Not too bad.
Larry, the 3 drivers that did not pit, Eric Jones, Eric Almirola, and Chase Elliott. What's the thinking there?
Well, they knew even if they pitted there, Mike, like everybody else, they were going to have to pit one more time. So it really didn't buy them a whole lot. But what it did buy them by staying out is what you're seeing right there. You're up near the front. Of course, the biggest problem they all have is that green and white zebra-looking car.
That would be Kyle Busch, who has won the first 2 races of this 3-race NASCAR weekend in Texas.
Uh-oh. Looks like maybe a tire rub on the 3 of Austin Dillon. Definitely some smoke.
Yeah, maybe.
Jimmy Johnson trying to clear Clint Boyer.
Yeah, that left rear's.
Little haze there.
Little haze.
Clear about 3. Clear about 4.
For the lead, here comes Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, Eric Jones has really not been in the picture all day. They've been working on that car. He was real loose earlier. I don't think he's going to be any kind of a threat to Kyle Busch, and maybe not even to Denny Hamlin. But great job to him for recovering from that earlier spin.
I think the 2 best cars right now are the 18 and 11.
Denny Hamlin has overcome not 1 but 2 penalties to find himself in 3rd place. There's the sawtooth graph of his day.
You can usually recover when you have that one big spike early in the race. A spike like that that comes late in the race, almost impossible to recover from that.
Vince?
Well, one of the things that Denny talked to me about this morning was that they need to clean up some of their execution. 2 penalties today, not exactly doing that. Just imagine what they might be able to do if they actually did clean up all of that. But they're running pretty well. The coach has got to be pleased with the way things have worked out. And you got to give a shout out to the new crew chief, Chris Gabehart. He has stepped into that position, and it is pressure filled, and he has really helped this team along. Denny has a lot of confidence in him, and that says a lot about Chris Gabehart.
That he has, Vince, and if they need to clean up, if Denny doesn't win this race, maybe he can borrow that broom from Kyle Busch.
Yes, he might. I'm sure he'll loan it to him. He's won it about 5 times. I don't know. He's got a whole closet full of trophies and brooms. You know, talking about Kyle Busch, so big week for him. Interstate Batteries, Norm Miller, they re-up with that team for an extended period of time. Kyle Busch is on the road, guys. Sometimes you just hit your stride, and right now he has hit his stride.
So look at the front 4 and ignore Kyle Busch for the moment. Okay, let's not. Let's look at his numbers.
You can't ignore him.
2 wins in 6 starts, 5 top 5s, 6 top 10s, average finish better than 3rd. That is a tremendous start for the season. And now looking at the drivers right behind him. Eric Jones brought out the first caution. Denny Hamlin, 2 penalties. Eric Almirola has the flu. Who's got anything for Kyle Busch?
Boy, nobody's had anything for him here recently.
I would say no one that I can see.
Hey, guys, you saw that 2.67 average finish for Kyle Busch in the first 6 races. Only 1 driver twice has had a better start in the first 6 races. Cale Yarborough in 1974 and 1977. You got to go back that far that a driver had a better average finish in the first 6 races.
That's digging really deep, Larry. well done.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show you how difficult it is to do what he's doing right now. It's incredible, this run that he is on.
And you know what, his brother, he made a point last week that I really hadn't thought a lot about. The wear and tear on Kyle Busch's body. You think he ran the truck race Friday night, got out of that thing, run the Xfinity race yesterday, and here he is leading a 500-miler today. That's physically almost impossible.
Physically and mentally, it's draining.
And you know where he got my attention really was at Bristol, when he won all 3 races at Bristol in one weekend, and I didn't think anybody could do that.
Yeah, I tell you, Darrell, we're going to Bristol next week, and I am really anxious to see, because this setup on these cars is going to make those cars extremely fast. I think physically it is going to be the most demanding race that we're going to see all year long.
I agree with you, Jeff, because we don't get a lot of cautions. You don't get a lot of times to catch your breath, to rest, and to kind of regroup. You're on it all the time.
And by the way, who won the championship those 2 years that Cale did that? Cale Yarborough. Well, what Cale and his team did not have is a pit box like this, and I'm not talking about the soft cushions and reclining backs, but these are some of the things they have available. They have the TV screen, NASCAR scoring. They have the team data screen. They have a simulation running. They have the onboard footage, and back at the race shop, or maybe even at the manufacturer's headquarters, they have the bunker, as shown by Larry Mack and Steve Shaw, where they have all kinds of those and other inputs, so they know. You heard someone today say, Joey Logano brake checked us. We saw the data.
Yeah.
And that's all in real time.
Yeah, and we saw at Auto Club a few weeks ago we heard on the radio where crew chief mentioned to their driver, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., hey, you know, we see that you're using a little bit more brake here than some others. So they are breaking down the details of what the drivers are doing, what the pit crew is doing, and what the engine is doing, everything, every aspect of it, breaking it down into serious detail.
You know, guys, my first year as a crew chief for a full-time Cup team was 1986. I had a stopwatch. I had the driver feedback. We did not even have electronic scoring. If we were not running well enough to be on the scoreboard, Darrell, you know this, the only way we knew they came around at the 25%, 50%, and 75% of the race and told you the running order.
Turn 2. Kyle Busch, way up the hill, is going to lose not only the lead, but probably the next 3 spots.
I think he might have a problem. Issue. I think he might have a tire issue, because that car just took off. I don't know, guys. I'd be worried if I were him, because that thing just took off up the hill like something happened to it.
Right. Get it back under you. We'll go back to work, and another stop yet.
Well, if your heart's beating by now, let's look at this again.
No kidding. I mean, I thought a right front had gone down, because the car really just, you can see there, it just took off.
Yeah, I can't tell if it twitched and the back end stepped out and then he caught it and then went up the racetrack. He made a nice big arc into the corner. I don't know if it's any kind of tire issue, because right now he's back up to speed.
Regardless of what happened, Kyle Busch was the leader. He's now 8/10 back in 4th place, and did not comment over the radio after that happened.
No, and you heard the spotter say, "Okay, calm, you know, get yourself together, get back after it," and he did, and it looks like it's okay.
Yeah, but we've seen where track position is so important in this race today, especially when you're the leader. Really difficult to make a pass on that leader, but once you get behind, it's hard to get those positions back.
And he may not want to tell his team what happened, because if he keys that radio, then everybody knows. We're going to take you side by side.
Coming to you. Right side field, coming to you. Coming to you. It's not going to make it. Right side tires, guys. Pull it out. Right side tire. We have to make a stop anyway. This could be okay. No mistake. All red.
He's struggling.
We're back with 51 laps to go in a great second place battle. Denny Hamlin and Eric Almirola about half a second behind leader Eric Jones. You saw Kyle Busch slap the wall and come in for right side tires. And there's Kyle Busch.
He'd been moving up the racetrack to get a run on Eric Almirola. I think he just tried to stay in the throttle a little bit too much there and lost the nose.
And Mike, never would I accuse of Kyle Busch of getting tired or anything else, but he ran 147 laps on Friday, 200 laps yesterday, and he's going to run 334 laps today. That's 681 laps. That's not counting any practice. That's a lot of miles to run around one racetrack.
They told him on the in-car radio, we have to make one more stop anyway. This could work out in our favor. We'll see.
Yeah, I just wonder, you know, that damage to the right side. These cars are so sensitive when it comes to aerodynamics. Already earlier, he was complaining about he didn't think he had enough downforce in the car. You know, they pulled that fender out, but did they pull it out enough to make up for the damage that might take away a little bit of side force or downforce on that 18 car?
We have 15 cars on the lead lap with 48 to go. And how many of those 15 drivers have been to victory lane this year? Denny Hamlin.
Wow.
Incredible. There's been a lot of attrition today.
Here's Matt on the leader.
A great recovery by Eric Jones and the 20 team. The biggest thing they've tried to work on this year is just execution, putting it together. The first 3 races they had it. They were averaging a 7th place finish. It kind of fell off the last 3, but he's having solid laps today. His spotter, Rick Pirelli, the High Plains drifter, has really been helping him with his line. In fact, he's been telling him, open up your entry a little bit more, and it has certainly helped him going through the center, and especially on exit, coming down the back straightaway.
Lap 15, the first caution of the day was a harmless spin by number 20, Eric Jones.
See,
just got away from him.
Just gets loose. Comes around on him right here, and just amazing that he could keep it out of the wall. You spin out here at the speeds you're going through the corner. Pretty good job.
And they didn't get collected by any other cars going by.
And while we were in break, Kyle Busch did key the radio and said, it just got away from me.
Yeah, when he had that bobble, you know, now hearing that and thinking back to the video that we saw, it just, as he arced in the corner and tried to get back to the throttle, the back end stepped out on him, and he did an amazing job. It shows you how quick his reflexes are to really just go up the racetrack and only lose a couple of positions.
Well, there is a bit of diversity among the top 5, as you see lower right, as far as when they last were on pit road, Larry.
Yeah, what you're going to see, though, is with Eric Jones, Eric Almirola, and William Byron, they're going to have to pit somewhere around when we see 30 to 35 to 40 to go. Now, everybody else, which would include like Denny Hamlin and William Byron, they're going to have to pit when we're somewhere around 20 to 25 to go. So about a 15 to 20 lap disparity in when they'll have to make a green flag stop.
Only 5 caution flags on the day, including the 2 stage breaks. 15 cars on the lead lap with 43 to go. Here's a quick word from Duracell.
This is the #1 trusted brand.
So Kyle Busch finds himself a lap down, and worse, he is the 7th car 1 lap down. As we look at the battle for 10th, Suarez, Austin Dillon, Harvick, and Truex all fighting for 10th place. And for 6th, Clint Boyer around the outside of Jimmy Johnson.
Still a great day for Jimmy Johnson. A great weekend for that whole team. Start on the pole. He's been very competitive today, led some laps. It's a good turnaround for that team. It struggled so mightily last week at Martinsville.
Yeah, that's certainly, you know, I don't care how good you are, how many races you've won or championships, your confidence can get down, and there's no doubt that this confidence has taken a hit, but I think this weekend is going to help build it back up.
Clint Boyer working past Chase Elliott and up into the top
road.
5.
Yeah, I think Chase Elliott is just getting clear to come to pit road here.
Now, I mentioned Kyle Busch was the 7th car, 1 lap down. The rest of that is he's the only car that can make it on fuel at this moment. Matt.
And Mike, you can see the wrench going in the back window. Another chassis adjustment for Chase Elliott's Camaro. They're going to go 4 tires here and pack it full of fuel. You can see the Jackman leaning back, and he's away.
Good stop.
Nice
really
stop.
good. Good job, boys.
That team has been really solid on pit road this year.
That's just Alan Gustin. I mean, he dots all of his I's, cross all of his T's. He's a very thorough crew chief. I like the way he operates.
So to finish the story on Kyle Busch, if this race stays green through the next round of green flag stops, he might have a chance. If we get a caution flag, not so much.
I'm not going to count him out, Mike. I can promise you that.
8th place, Suarez and Newman.
I put my broom back in the closet, but I could get it out at any moment.
Don't want you to have to ride it home.
I don't want you to take those crying towels with you either.
Fair enough.
Here's some other guys talk about some confidence boosters. Ryan Newman, Daniel Suarez in the 41 and the 6 of Newman. You know, they've also needed a day like this.
Look at this battle. This is just awesome. Ryan Newman fighting for everything he can hang on to. Daniel Suarez trying to move up, and look what this does. It brings Austin Dillon to them, and Kevin Harvick's coming, and Martin Truex is coming. On your left, 2nd place, Denny Hamlin, Eric Almirola. Toyota against Ford. Almirola had a rough night last night with the flu bug that's been going around.
That's a winning formula.
Yeah.
You get sick, you win the race.
Ask Dr. Brad.
I think it's been
made a pit stop.
It's been a fun race to do, Mike, because we've had so many variances, so many people leading the race, and problems in the pits, and problems on the track, and a tire, and a this and a that. I thought it's been a fun race to cover.
Now the 2 leaders, Eric Jones and Eric Almirola, 2 of the 3 leaders. Been a while since they've seen pit road. They'll be due in next.
I know one thing. This is a long race. You know, you think about how long it's 334. This is a 500-miler, buddy. It's grueling.
But what a great day for Eric Bell. I mean, here's a film. Joe Gibbs has 4 very, very talented drivers, and a 5th, Christopher Bell. Looking to move up. So Eric Jones, you know, Eric Jones, Denny Hamlin, you got Martin Truex, Kyle Busch, and you've got to wonder where are they going to put Christopher Bell, and who would move if they did. I think today boosts Eric Jones' stock quite a bit.
I think, you know, there's a little bit of that certainly that's going on, Mike, and I would just say in general, when your teammates are winning races, and especially what Kyle Busch has been doing, it just puts more pressure on you. Eric Almirola on pit road.
Vince?
And this pit crew had a couple of bad stops last week. They need to have one that is spot on right here. Eric says the car is just a little bit too tight. Right side tires for the 10 of Eric Almirola, and put enough gas in it to get him to the end.
You know what, Mike? The fastest cars I ever drove were just a little bit tight.
A little snug.
Little snug.
We expect Eric Jones in the next lap or 2.
Going off that right front.
Off that right front, that's right.
All right, more pressure right here for Eric Jones.
Pitch this time. Pitch this time. All the way to your green sign. Pit.
Get to pit road aggressively, but don't get yourself in trouble. Nice job.
Yep. Very cautious.
Nice clean entry, Matt.
And Mike, he's been money down in turns 1 and 2. That's where his team feels like he's been making up the most time. This pit crew has been retooled in the offseason, dusted in the case of Michael Hicks. They used to be over on Denny Hamlin's Toyota. Ernie Pierce, the Jackman, and Justin White. They came over from Stuart Haas. Great stop.
Pit road speed, long way down to turn 1 where you can accelerate. And we'll see where Jones re-enters the order. Denny Hamlin has picked up the lead from William Byron and Clint Boyer. Then Jimmy Johnson and Kurt Busch.
And it's on for second place.
Boyer, look at him go. Boyer needs something good to happen to him today, if at all possible. He's had some really bad weekends.
Well, it's certainly the best position he's been in late in the race that we've seen this year. So already a huge gain over what we've seen out of Clint Boyer.
Yeah, you got 14, 24, the 48, and the 1 all right there together fighting for position.
Things tightening up with 29 laps to go. And Eric Jones back up to speed, 13th place, 1 lap down. Denny Hamlin, your leader. Yeah. 11 drivers at the front of the field. Everybody down through. Michael McDowell must make one more pit stop. I guess the question, Larry, since they all stopped at lap 257, would be when?
Yeah, I'm going to say somewhere around 15 to 20 laps to go, Mike, which is not that far away, somewhere around lap 320 in that neighborhood.
Yeah, and right now they've got Eric Jones, who was our leader, a lap down as they run as of now until that pit sequence begins for some of those cars.
Clint Boyer has been the one driver who's steadily been moving forward. He's now within 1 second of Denny Hamlin as we watch the 6th place race. Newman and Harvick.
Yeah, just another tough battle right here between the 6, the 4, and the 3, and the 10. I mean, everybody's right on top of each other. There are a bunch of cars that are racing for position that, I mean, they're racing hard right now. We come to the end of this race.
Jamie?
This is the happiest I have heard Clint Boyer on the radio about a race car, and I talked to him this morning about what they did. They took a little bit different approach for this race. They actually took some downforce out because Clint said they tried it both ways, and the drivability was the same. So he said, let's trim it out, find that speed, and I've actually heard him say on the radio today, he's got speed. He has speed alone. He's able to draft, and now here he is, started mid-pack, and he's running second.
Now he is catching Denny Hamlin at a pretty good rate here. The last 3 cars that Bowyer has caught, he was able to pass quickly and not spend a lot of time behind them in dirty air.
Yeah, I mean, he's been steadily faster, 2-3 tenths. That last lap by, heck, he was the one before this one was about 3 to 4 tenths faster.
Well, we listened in on Clint Bowyer and company.
There's 11. Here, kitty, kitty. That's what's out.
Martin Truex on pit road.
Mike, I heard a big debate all weekend long about downforce, not so much downforce. Trim them out. With the grip this track has and the traction compound and the tire combination, I believe you can get away with trimming your car out here and get some pretty good speed out of it.
That stop for Truex leaves 10 cars out there, the top 10, who will need a stop. Erik Jones pitted from the lead at lap 303.
And you know, also remember last time Denny Hamlin was on pit road, lap 257 was gas only. He didn't take any tires. That 14 car did take 2.
We expect Bowyer next time by. Larry, to beat Erik Jones, can you afford to take the time to take tires?
No, I think this late in the game, you got to do what we saw Truex, what we saw Kurt Busch do. It's fuel only. That's the only hope you have.
I mean, the tires just don't seem to make that big a difference.
So here's Bowyer for what should be the last stop of the day for him. Newman coming as well. And Denny Hamlin next lap. Jamie?
And they're telling Clint Bowyer, don't speed, don't slide the tires. He eases into his pit box, just about 3 seconds worth of fuel, and he's out.
Newman in, 1 can of fuel over the wall. In and out.
And Denny lost some time coming to pit road. We've seen him have issues coming to pit road. He was very conservative that time.
Vince?
Well, they had 1 speeding penalty. They also had another pit penalty. Going to make a chassis adjustment and gas for Denny. It's just a little too free entering the turn. That's what he needs to finish.
Kevin Harvick finishes his stop. Here's Jimmy. He's away. William Byron is the leader. He's coming to pit road.
Now.
Daniel Suarez would have taken over the lead, but Suarez is in with Byron. Austin Dillon will be the new leader. Matt DiBenedetto, his stop. Ricky Stenhouse is in, Buescher and McDowell.
Long stop for the 24. They were wanting him to go, and he was a little hesitant.
That leaves Austin Dillon as the only driver off sequence.
Sorry, guys. The 20 car of Erik Jones and Jimmy Johnson on the front straightaway made contact. I thought Jimmy Johnson was going around.
It's been 64 laps since Dillon last visited pit lane. Bowman is in along with Tift, Sorensen, and Kligerman.
I think, Mike, the only way that the 11 isn't going to win this race is if the 3 doesn't pit. I don't see that happening.
Ricky Stenhouse too fast exiting.
11's got a comfortable lead over the 14 car, and they're waiting on the 3 to come to pit road.
Here's what Jeff was speaking of.
I'm sorry, I just happened to catch out of the corner of my eye, but the 20 car of Erik Jones as Jimmy Johnson's getting up to speed, makes a little contact in that right rear bumper and almost turned him sideways. Here comes the 3 to pit road.
Picking your all green. Do not slide.
Logano in with him, although laps down. Splash and go for Austin Dillon. And here comes Hamlin,
well, you
the
gotta
leader.
give Denny Hamlin, he was so conservative coming to pit road, but whatever they did on pit road and the job that Denny did leaving pit road really built a nice gap back to the 14.
You know, Denny Hamlin had to come to pit road very conservatively. He did not need another penalty.
So with 11 laps to go, everybody has the fuel and the tires they need to go the distance.
10 to go, 1-0.
10 laps to go, as you heard.
So let's use our Fox Ghost car again. We'll start it in turn 3, where the cars slow down to come onto pit road. And watch Hamlin and Bowyer, who are currently 1-2. Denny Hamlin had a better entry from the same point than Bowyer did.
Yeah, and maybe he just did it so nice and smooth and it wasn't all out of control like we've seen him earlier. So he actually did carry a little more speed to pit road than Clint Bowyer.
There's the difference.
And certainly the crew, 0.8 of a second less time in the box.
I guess it would really depend too on how much fuel they thought they had to get in the car, so that could have been a factor as well.
Teammates started on the front row, Johnson and Byron. Now battle for 5th.
And you know, this is a similar situation where I believe William Byron came in a little bit later, was getting up to speed.
But Jeff, maybe they get enough fuel in the 11 car. Wasn't there very long.
Now, as we talked earlier, this cycles around to Kyle Busch's favor. He's no longer a lap down. He was the first of those leaders to pit back at lap 281, but he's in 10th place, 11 seconds off the lead.
Yeah, again, Mike, I just wonder if that damage, he just didn't seem to have the speed after he made that contact with the wall. Even though they pulled that fender out, it just seems to me like he's been off a little bit.
But Jeff, I think something had to happen. I don't know why. I guess we'll never know. But when he lost the car and he went up the hill and almost hit the wall, the next lap or two, then he scrapes the wall and he comes in the pits. Something in that sequence happened.
Well, right now, his lap times are pretty much mirroring the leader, his teammate, Denny Hamlin. There's our Twisted T camera giving you these views from Ty Dillon's car.
I would ask Larry if there was any trends for a caution in the last few laps here, but Larry said he quit keeping trends. The heck with those.
Everything's different this year.
6 to go. I'll bet he's got a nugget for us, Larry.
Well, I do have them, and we are well beyond the average of the last caution. The average of the last caution, our last 10 races here, 55 to go, and we've had 1 overtime back in 2014. And hear this sound here? That's the trends.
That wasn't the wrapper on a Dove bar, was it? 7th, 8th, and 9th. Almirola, Kurt Busch, Kevin Harvick. 5 to go. 4.
Music to the leader's ear. I love it. Man, there's nothing better than 4 to go and you're pulling away. That's a great sound.
Denny Hamlin is the only driver in the top 9 to have won this year. And there he is out front after 2 penalties. Not 1, 2.
Well, let's see. The Daytona 500.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was a big win.
Well, yes.
The Daytona 500, and now he wins a 500-miler here. So, you know, he might be our 500-mile king.
But I'm saying the 8 drivers right behind him, they're still hungry for 2019.
They'll be hungry next week. They'll be hungrier next week.
Three to go, and looks like a good day for Joe Gibbs Racing, currently 1st and 4th. The other team that has dominated this season, Team Penske, not so much. Troubles on all 3 of their cars today. Stewart-Haas running 2nd, 3rd, and 7th and 8th.
But what a difference here. I mean, we look right on our screen here, the number 4, Kevin Harvick. We're so used to him being the dominant force at Stewart-Haas. Right now, he's actually running 4th of their 4-car stable.
Our Ford onboard camera from Harvick.
But they're all 4 of those cars in the top 10. So very consistent.
And Hendrick Motorsports started up front. 2 in the top 6. 1 lap to go. White flag sponsored by Credit One Bank.
You said it, Daryl. He has a way of coming back.
I don't know how he does it, but they do it a lot.
A double penalty day and a checkered flag for Denny Hamlin. Joe Gibbs Racing and Toyota win the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500. 33rd career win and second of the season.
I just think a lot of that, Mike, is Chris Capehart. Incredible crew chief, great leader. I like what he's done with this race team.
2 wins after failing to get to victory lane all of 2018.
Big wins.
And his 3rd win here at Texas. The 6th track on which he's won at least 3 times. The Stage 2 winner has now won the last 5 Cup races this year, and 3 in a row here in Texas.
You gave him the good news.
Don't leave my head good news.
You did.
I told him I got good news, buddy.
All right. We're going to put away the broom and the crying towels.
I think he was waiting for you to tell him the bad news.
I should call him right now, remind him.
Today's victory was fueled by Sunoco. Sunoco is fueling victories all season long.
So you know what they do now? They got to one-up Keselowski. So no telling how long this burnout will last.
Yeah, that was a one-note symphony from Brad.
Well, that slide worked out pretty good. He's putting on a show.
Drifting.
For Joe Gibbs Racing, the 161st Cup Series win, spread among 9 drivers. Their 4th win of the season and 8th here at Texas. 4th win of the year for Toyota. Well, he couldn't burn it down, but he sure did light it up.
Shut her down, bud.
I can't recall a day when a driver was penalized twice for pit road, once by the driver, once by the crew, and came back to win.
Fast car, determined driver.
All right, Jamie Little's trackside.
It has been almost 9 years since Denny Hamlin went to victory lane here at Texas Motor Speedway. Climbs from the car, wants to get that flag. Denny, Chris Capehart just came on the radio and said, we still haven't executed a clean race yet, but we have 2 wins. How did you overcome 2 penalties today to get the win?
And a missed pit road under green. Just a fast car. You get me a fast car enough that could really pass anyone in the field. So that means a lot. So it definitely was a different type of race, trying to draft and everything and try to get out of everyone's wake. But proud of this whole FedEx office team here, Toyota, Coca-Cola, the Jordan brand, Little Big Burger, everyone who helps put this race car on the racetrack. Joe Gibbs, JD Gibbs, still thinking about him and his legacy. So got to say hi to Jordan and the kids at home, and hopefully we have some fun tonight.
Hey, there's a flag, and I see some Hamlin fans waiting for you. Congratulations, Denny Hamlin wins at Texas. Vince?
I know box score not going to tell the story in relation to Kyle Busch. He finishes 10th, but he led the most laps today. You're in the lead with 57 to go, and all of a sudden it seemed like the car just came out from under you. What happened?
Yeah, it just broke loose. I kind of feeling it getting a little bit freer as we were going there, and you're still trying to hustle as hard as you can and get all you can through the corners in order to keep your lap time going, and it just busted loose on me, and I had to catch it and make sure we didn't crash. So first and foremost, we did that, and then got back in line, got rolling, and started gaining back on those guys in front of us, and the looseness was still there, and then I had to chase it on exit at 2 one time behind the 10 and just knock the fence down. So hate it for my guys that, we made an adjustment there to tighten it up going into that run, and we got looser. So something to learn from there, but overall, thanks to Interstate Batteries, M&M's, and I have to go get them next week.
Strong run, strong effort from Kyle Busch. The most laps led today, but he finishes 10th. Matt?
Vince, a solid run by Clint Boyer in the 14 car. How would you sum up this day? You end at P2, but it was a long way to get there.
Well, we had to unclog ourselves. Once we unclogged ourselves, we were really good. Our Mustangs were fast all weekend long. Took a while for our Mustang to get good. This Rush Truck Center's you know, Cummins' car was a little off, to be honest with you, all weekend long. I was pretty nervous coming into the race, and you know, we just made Mike and everybody made some good adjustments, and you know, leaned on your teammates. When you only have an hour with a practice, it kind of pulls you away from maybe something you were trying, or you know, anything out of your wheelhouse, and just kind of put us all back together with all 4 cars at Stewart Haas, and you know, all in all, hey, I wanted to catch it. I wanted to catch him bad. He just come out of the pits way too far ahead of me, and wasn't much I could do about it. But you know, everybody involved, IT Savvy folks were here. Like I said, Rusty and all his Rush Truck Center guys. This is a home track for them. One Kier, everybody involved. I appreciate everybody's support. Thanks.
Great momentum builder for Clint Boyer's second top 5 of 2019.
2.7 seconds, the margin of victory. Denny Hamlin over Clint Boyer.
Pit stop of the race today. It's got to be from that last round pit stop. It was gas and go for many teams, including the team that wound up winning this race. The 11th car of Denny Hamlin with a gas and go stop here. There's our Sunoco pit stop of the race. They did go over a wedge adjustment there too. That's the winning adjustment he needed to race across to a win by more than 2.5 seconds over Clint Boyer. Fire safety bringing you the photos, the Twitter pictures here up on Big On TV. All kinds of people have been sending us in the hashtag of Riley 500. Check out social media goal for us here.
Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Those who live up to their names make one for themselves. Goodyear, official tire of NASCAR. I've been reminded of Brad Keselowski at Talladega, fall of 2014. He overcame 2 penalties and went to victory lane. So this is not unprecedented. but it sure is quite a performance. And here's Denny in victory lane.
Hey, Denny, it's a DW. Buddy, I told you I had good news. The winner of the second stage, you won the race almost, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. How did you do that? I mean, how did you pull that off? Capehart must have given you a heck of a car.
Yeah, our car was really, really fast. We obviously saw that. Once we got out front, we were actually able to pull away from the pack a little bit. So just got a little bit loose right there when we were racing our teammates with the 18 and the 20. So I wasn't able to be as aggressive as I was earlier in the race, but we had a super fast car, and that's why we won. I missed pit road under green. That cost us 3 or 4 seconds as well. So I don't know. We tried every way we could to give it away, and just we found a way to do it with this FedEx Camry.
Well, congratulations on the great win. Let's join Vince with the third place finisher.
Congrats. What a great day for Daniel Suarez, finishing third. Ran up in the top group all day long. How good did it feel to bring it home? A strong run in front of, I know, a lot of family and friends that you have here today in Texas as well.
Yeah, it was a solid day for sure. Overall, I want to just say that I'm very proud of Stuart House Racing for performance and everyone that makes this possible, because we've been working very hard to try to make our race cars better, and definitely we're heading in the right direction. It's the second week in a row that all Stuart House cars are in the top 10, so that's something very, very good. And overall, very proud of the 41 group, because we've been working hard to slowly get better and better, and you know, we're showing that this car was fast the entire weekend, and just very proud of the effort. Hopefully we can keep heading in that direction and finish in victory lane one day here soon.
Hard work's paying off. Great job. Daniel Suarez, third place.
Well, Jimmy comes down to Texas. You sit on the pole. You led 60 laps on the day, and you get your first top 5 of the year. I know you had some issues with your car out there, but reflect on what it was like just to be back up there at the front of the pack battling with those guys.
Yeah, it's great to be back in the mix. It's where this team deserves to be, and our sponsors with Ally and Chevy, everybody on board, especially, I guess, to add to that, just the hard, all the work that goes into getting these cars to the track and the changes we continue to make. So I hope everybody at Hendrick Motorsports is smiling big right now. We still have more work to do, but to have all 4 cars with such pace, I think 2 or 3 of us had great results. It's just a big step in the right direction for us.
An early penalty by Eric Jones, great recovery, but what is it about you in 4th place here?
Yeah, I think that's 3 in a row for us, so I wish we'd cap it off and just win one of them here along the way, but you know, we definitely had the car to do it. I think our Craftsman Camry by the end of the race was pretty close to being the best in the field, but I put us behind early. You know, we spinning out on lap 15 isn't really the way to start your day, and you know, we had to really kind of dig out of a hole from there. So it's you can't complain too much when it's your fault, but you know, it's still a good day. We've had a rough few weeks, and it's nice just to get back on track. We knew this was a good spot for us, and I would have been disappointed if we didn't run well here. So it's good momentum from Bristol, one of my favorite places next week. So hopefully we can pick up a few more spots and get that win.
Talking about getting back on track, the first 3 races of the year, his average finish was 7th. Had a little bit of a rough go the last 3, but now back on track with a 4th place finish. Another top 5.
Big day for Joe Gibbs Racing. The win, 2 in the top 5, and all 4 cars in the top dozen today.
Before we get to the trophy presentation, my pleasure to mention that Texas has on-demand delivery service in Salt Favor, SAVOR, allowed one lucky fan to deliver the winner's trophy here to Sunoco Victory Lane. That man is Jody Davis from Rockport, Texas. So thanks, Jody. Congratulations. And thanks to Favor for being our best Texas on-demand service. So now it's my pleasure to introduce the man we like to call the best promoter of motorsports anywhere, also the president of Texas Motor Speedway. Please welcome Eddie Gossett. Thank you, George. An excited group of you in Victory Lane, and a very, very happy winner. On behalf of Marcus Smith, the president, CEO, Speedway Motorsports, O'Reilly Auto Parts, and most importantly, all the fans here today, congratulations on winning today's O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 and the prestigious Boot Trophy. I know you've won this before. The O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 also offers the 3rd largest payout of the season. So the Daytona 500 is number 1. This is number 3. You win the big money race. So we're pleased to give you this trophy. Now, to make the official trophy presentation is Tim Herbert, the event and sports marketing manager O'Reilly Auto Parts. Jim, congratulations, Jimmy. On behalf of O'Reilly Auto Parts and all of our team members, congratulations on winning the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500.